Sports Oval, round 19, Melbourne versus the Western Bulldogs. Scott Wine won the toss and will kick lefty screen and is immediately into the action, claiming the ball, can't get the handball away. Melbourne very quickly in onto the contest. By Harvey working with Dennis Rich and Michael Sexton, not the injured Carlton player. But the umpire of some note at AFL level, Scott West. Very quickly trying to get the kick away, and Clarkson makes his presence felt very early in the game. Clarkson weak in the reserves, back in, but Scott West, the first kick of the game into half forward. Melbourne, Glenn Lovett gathers the ball and goes straight towards the boundary line and beats Daniel Southern and Lee Newton over the line.
Just Greg Hutchison 3 weeks ago on Sports World said that Melbourne were going to go long, penetrating to centre half forward, get some distance in their game, and Lovett just went to the boundary line.
Maybe it shows a bit of desperation too, Couch. I think when you're under the hammer, maybe you do that.
So the free kick goes to Wine from the boundary throw in against Steins. Big Jim not all that happy with the decision.
Oh,
and there's a little bit going on behind play. Couch, did you see it?
Well, Viney had a go at Dimartino, the 50-metre mark there, and it was a punch thrown. It didn't connect, but...
So Dimartino out with the path of Darcy. Lamprell, a late inclusion into the Melbourne side, dives over the boundary line, followed by Darcy and the ball to be thrown in. 2 late changes this afternoon. Lamprell coming into the side for Sean Smith, and for the Western Bulldogs, Mark West in place of Matthew Croft.
Left half forward for the Bulldogs. Jimmy Steins over the top to Pyman. Had an excellent game last week with over 25 possessions. Pyman now Lovett out wide. That's good play from the Demons. The running Seacamp through half-back, 1 bounce. I think he's one of the fastest players in the AFL. 2 bounces now, throws it on the boot. Beautiful play by the Demons. David Neitz at centre-half forward to finish off some excellent play.
They've got Neitz playing at centre-half forward, and that's what Melbourne want to do. They want to go direct to centre-half forward.
There's the long kick up to the goal square. Pack forms right in front of the pack. Shane Woden, all on his own, will take an easy mark. 10 metres out, and will put the Demons' first goal on the board.
Oh, that was just too easy, wasn't it? There wasn't a defender within QE.
Well, I think it fell short. The whole pack were maybe probably 5 or so metres further on, and the kick fell short, but Woden judged it beautifully and better, and he puts their first through. The Demons are on the board with their first goal. Bit of talking there.
But great play by Melbourne there to switch the play across in the back line there. Jimmy Steins hit back towards Footscray goal square, and that's what Melbourne do. They actually hit back to the goal square. Beautiful play by Glenn Lovett to feed the ball out, and good direct play by Melbourne, and that's what Greg Hutchison wants since he's taking over the job at Melbourne. And David Neitz playing at centre half forward is a very important player for the Melbourne side.
So the first goal on the board to Melbourne. Wind in amongst the game, but Melbourne now with Phoebe, just concedes a little bit of ground back to half-back. Uze on the right foot, very good to Steins. Steins just holding things up slightly now. Back again, chips back inboard. Schwartz, what a comeback it's been. First played round 11 this year, he's played every game since, and the big man's away, kicks in towards the forward pocket. Charles in front position.
Oh, he's telling him never try.
He is. That is a very interesting matchup. Height-wise, Libber's not going to be in the ballpark there, Couchy.
Well, it's an interesting matchup, but with Justin Charles' speed, he's just a great player.
And he's also the height, the speed, and maybe even the skill.
Mobility, too. And he's very good on the ground. So Libber's got his work cut out there. I don't know where the back pocket's his right position.
So it's Sean Charles. 17 goals, 13 for the year. This one is dragged across, right to the line. The claim for the mark, forced over. Umpire allocates it to be just the one behind to Sean Charles.
And the Demons have really got him on the hop early. They're more desperate at the moment. They seem to work themselves out. I'm just worried about those 5 changes, 6 changes now. Can unbalance the side, the Western Bulldogs.
Compounded by 5 changes last week. So that's
11 all up in the last 2 weeks, Terry. It's a worry.
A lot of movement. Rowan Smith now looking for the movement on the kick-in. He's found Cox at half-back. Big left footer. Doesn't use the left foot, gives it off to a teammate. Long towards half forward, but Steins again for the second occasion. Repelling the play. Viney, long handball out to Uze in space. He in turn goes short by Woden.
They're setting it up well, Terry. Like, they're opening up that forward line beautifully and running it out of that half-back line.
It's good to see Jimmy Steins hand the ball off to the running players, to get them moving early.
Charles offers a lead, ignored by Woden. He has Schwartz and Neitz in the square. Why not go long? Sonny does. The pack forms. Big Wine from the front position forces it through. And really, Coach Scotty Wine's going to have to do that all day with that armoury of Neitz and Schwartz in the forward line for Melbourne.
That's right. He's a great player. Reads the play well from the kick behind. And, you know, Scotty Wine's going to have a big part in the game today.
Rowan Smith plays onto himself, gains at 10 or 15 metres and kicks it long and wide, looking for the D southern direction. Also, Leon Cameron's come right down from the half-forward line. Scotty West off half-back. Nathan Brown kicked 3 excellent goals for the Bulldogs against the Tigers last week. Now, Scotty West has got a bit of time on his wrong foot, being his right foot. Do you understand that? What that means is Jose Romero sandwiched in between, or the Demons sandwich and Lovett. Might have been Lovett and Lovett. Sounds like a law firm. Jose Romero throws it on the boot. In front is Grant. Over the top is Ingerson. Play on's the call. Matthew Dent, back from suspension, gets it to his boot. Overrun it is Johnson. It's all Melbourne. If they can get some composure, they do in Pyman. In good form for the Demons. Now to Brett Lovett, number 17 for the Demons. Looking for options, chips it up forward. Liberatore, the move has already been made, Couch. He's on to McDonald now, away from Charles. Now West to Wind. Back to West, Mark West. Looking for Grant, trying to use his body. Ingerson's the stronger and the cleverer. Off the ground by Hopgood. A running race. Johnson, who's fast. Unable to keep it under control. And out of bounds, 65 metres out from the Bulldogs' goal.
And Chris Grant's got his thigh heavily bandaged there. He's got heavily padded, and Ingerson's playing on him. Doesn't seem to be moving as freely. He was under a bit of a doubt for this game.
Luke Darcy tries to find an opponent, but it's sharked by Lovett. Glenn Lovett off to Pyman, off the half-back line. Across the centre of the ground. One-on-one, Liberatore takes McDonald to the ground, but the umpire, Dennis Rich, has called a free kick against McDonald, and will find Libba.
Did you buy that one all right, Couch?
No, I thought it was the other way, Terry.
Goes long to centre forward. Grant in the front position. Another free kick for the Western Bulldogs. But on both occasions, the Western players have been in front. Grant on that occasion in front of Ingerson. Ingerson standing some 55, 60 metres out from goal. Grant into Johnson. That's a very good mark.
The lead was good. If we get to see it again, you watch him run from behind the Melbourne player. So that was the speed of Johnson.
They don't look dangerous in the full forward line, the last line of the goals there. Western Bulldogs, but a great mark by Brad Johnson. James, the last line of the Western Bulldogs just doesn't look right at the moment.
So Johnson with the opportunity for the first one for the Western Bulldogs. It's a deliberate shot from 40 metres out. He's got it. It's 1 goal apiece. 1 goal apiece, but Melbourne lead 1-8 to the Western Bulldogs, the 1 goal.
Yeah, it was great play by Brad Johnson there. Strong lead. Chris Grant, a beautiful pass by him. Gave him every opportunity, kicked it out in front, gave him space to run into. And a beautiful pass under extreme pressure, Brad Johnson. Great mark and a great goal from 35 metres out.
Well, the Johnson goal puts the Bulldogs within 2 points of the Demons. Shane Woden kicked their first one. In the centre of the ground, Clarkson trying to burst his way through the Scotty Wine tackle. Tough stuff.
And actually, it's Curley now has the job back on Sean Charles in the back pocket. He seemingly has the same attitude as Libber. He's been very physical.
Yeah, Sean Charles is a very good player, quick. They've got a 2 full forward set up there of Neitz and Sean Charles, and they've put everybody up Melbourne into the centre square.
Centre of the ground, Dennis Rich again. Wine, the beautiful knockdown, shark by Schwartz, now off to Viney. Good pressure from Matthew Dent from the Bulldogs. Now it's the Melbourne side. Excellent vision from McDonald to Uza. Now to Woden. Has to spin around onto his left boot. It's only his first season. He's made a huge impression so far for the Melbourne side, Shane Woden. But his kick falls into the recently out of form Luke Darcy, who now receives a 50-metre penalty against David Neitz for knocking the ball out of his hands. Darcy spent a game in the seconds last week, kicked the goal against the Tigers, and he's obviously...
It's a good 50 metres.
Umpire John Harvey's given him 2. How's this? He's now going to have a shot for goal. He's inside 50. He took the mark in front of the goal square in defence for the Bulldogs. 2 50-metre penalties will now put him directly in front and line Viney up for the Bulldogs second. See what happened there, Cash?
I think there was a bit of mouthing off there, Russell. I think you can't argue with the umpire. A bit of mouthing off, and he's given him an extra 50. Luke Darcy's a beautiful kick, beautiful long kick, and he should be able to score this.
Directly in front, looking for the Bulldogs second. They played 10.5 minutes in this first term. Head over the ball, screws it to the right, and the Melbourne supporter said, serves you right. So the Bulldogs 1-1, trail the Demons 1-2.
Melbourne will be happy with the start this week. Last week, after 4 minutes and 4 seconds of play, Viney and Cowell have been the only Demons to touch the ball. In the Avalanche, with the Sydney Swans kicking 10 goals, Melbourne have started extremely well here at this match against the Bulldogs. Phoebe does the kicking out towards Ingus, and West steps away inside 50 on the left foot, goes long, goes strong, he's put it there. 2 to the Dogs.
Yeah, great play by Scotty West there. Read the ball beautifully off the pack, and a beautiful left foot kick. Has been a great player for the Western Bulldogs this year, and he's been a top player in and around the centre square there. Reads it off the pack beautifully. Looks towards goal, and a great 50-metre goal on his left foot.
You probably kicked 50 or so of those in your career, Couchy, on the run?
Outside 50? Kicked a couple.
That's one of the
But he's been a very good player.
Yeah, but that's actually in fact his only 4th goal for the season, so it hasn't been as dominant going forward, perhaps as Terry Wallace would like with Scott West.
So I'm sure Terry the Plough Wallace will be very pleased with that one, with Scotty West kicking only his 4th for the season, but his 1st for today. The Bulldogs are 2-1, 13, now leading Melbourne 1-2-8. Is a
Scotty Wine got knocked over there, Russell.
nice old, is it a nice old knee? It looks as though it's grimacing with pain, but he doesn't want to let his opponents know that it hurts. It really did hurt his right arm, so he shoots it out to Leon Cameron very quickly, looking for Grant, hits him lace out on the chest.
And that's what the Western Bulldogs want. They want Leon Cameron to get plenty of the ball. He's a beautiful user.
Scotty Wine still not looking too good. As Simon Cox has drifted down, will have a ping on his left foot from the pocket. Across the face it goes. And it's just one behind. But
Just on that play, Russell, Chris Grant went too wide to Cox there. Should have squared the ball up to the goal square, and not a great kick. Now, I know he was loose, but you're better off to go to the top of the goal square. Open the goal square up. And Scotty Wine's in trouble.
He was favouring his right arm, Couchy, so we'll just have a look at... We'll wait on that one, get an update further into the game as the kick-off from Phoebe is up to the centre of the ground. Now Liberatore off to Brown. The big left foot is taken high. It's a free kick. It'll be back up to where he was taken, so it won't be downfield. It wasn't deemed after he kicked it. It was deemed as he kicked the ball. So umpire John Harvey gave the free kick to Nathan Brown, number 17 for the Bulldogs, the 18-year-old.
Just a little thing what Melbourne are doing. They're pushing all their men down to Footscray's full forward line and their forward line, and they've got Swartz, Neitz and Charles in and around their own 50-metre arc there. There's only 3 players, keeping the forward line open for Melbourne.
Brown will line up directly in front. Will kick from 52 metres. That left foot looks pretty good, but I think it doesn't swing it around enough. Bit to the left, one behind. So the Bulldogs take their score to 2 goals, 3-15, leading Melbourne 1-2-8.
And they missed a lot of their goals because they've been 50 metres out and further. They get around that 30-35-metre arc where more percentage of goals are kicked.
So Melbourne now from the kick in. Nice and short Seacamp, hard up against the boundary line. First kick always just looking to set up the second one. Seacamp decides to go long. Ingerson with Wine. Wine just knocks it on down, volleyball style. Phoebe, back to Lovett, Brett Lovett. In turn, just over the top there of Newton. Couldn't quite take the ball. Hyman, great hands, out through space to Uze. Now to Charles. Burley from behind does the spoiling. Neitz, Rhodes. McDonald slips over. Thank goodness for that, because West was coming through like a steam train.
Oh, good work, Viney.
Steps out. Good hands. Over the top free kick. Umpire Michael Sexton's picked one out.
He's a tough player, Todd Viney. He's been a great player for Melbourne over the years. And in the clinches, he's in and under hard, and he's there with the free kick. The leading possession winner for Melbourne this year.
Very quickly on into Phoebe. This is Stephen Phoebe. Straight across the ground. Cowell on the ground. Couldn't complete the mark. Hopwood come on down from the back pocket. Feeds out to Lovett. This is where Melbourne look to set something up. Holding it up now, Lamport. Eventually, long towards the top of the square. Pack form, Wine. Excellent work.
Scotty Wine. He's an extra great player, that beautiful loose play behind the play.
Out to Dimatina, in turn to Smith. Smith's the kicker. This time he decides to handball the run of Dent. They've worked it to the wing position. Johnson, Hopgood, over the line, another boundary throw in.
So just in those last forwards to tackle Melbourne, all they've done is bomb it long. They haven't looked for that player in short, and Scotty Wine's been very important in those last two clinches there in the goal square.
And there's a very interesting statistic early in the game. Western Bulldogs 9 free kicks, Melbourne the 1. The umpire again pulls one. Another one to the Bulldogs. Liberatore this time. To his mate Ramiro. Steps around onto the right foot, high towards Grant. Ingerson will spoil from behind. Well done, Glenn Lovell. Powell, Lamprell, across the body. Back towards the centre of the ground, but it's all Dogs. It's Nathan Brown.
He's done pretty well so far today. He's had a bit of the ball in the centre of the ground. He goes wide looking for Chris Grant, as most Bulldogs do. He's their champion goal kicker. Now is a chance for D Southern. Make a name for yourself, son. Spins around onto the right boot. Unselfish play, excellent vision. Finding Leon Cameron, opening up the goals and allowing the Bulldogs to maybe get their third goal on the board. So good work from D Southern, coming out from the back line. Gets a pat on the back, Credial.
Catchy Leon Cameron, third game back from an ankle injury.
Yeah, we need it. The Western Bulldogs really need him to play well today. He's a beautiful exponent of the kick, and he's got beautiful skills.
Well, he was shown how to play last week against the Tigers, so he needs to put in a good one for the Bullies today. Lining up for the third. Kick looks pretty good, straight over the top of the goal umpire's head. The Bulldogs third. There goes the wolf. We can hear it in the background. Leon Cameron's first.
Just on that last play, Russell, all the Demon players were in the Footscray forward line there, and the Bulldogs. And the Western Bulldogs formed a line across the centre there, and they got the loose kick out from Melbourne to kick the ball loose into the midfield there, and the Bulldogs had loose players there and kicked it back beautifully to Grant. Southern, a beautiful kick to Leon Cameron in goal.
So Western Bulldogs with the last 3 goals after Melbourne opened with the first to Woden. Romero left foot quickly out of the contest. Darcy turned this week after a spell in the reserves last week. Second leading goal scorer for the Dogs. 20 goals, 7 behinds for the season, so accuracy really is one of his fortes, the big left footer.
Pretty good strike rate, Terry, though, isn't it? Very good strike rate.
Very good strike rate.
27.
But in that 6-week period leading up to being dropped last week, there'd only been 2 goals, so his productivity had dropped away. Now that's a great shot of the angle that he has.
Is that the blood rule? Is it Newton coming off and Gergic being replaced?
So Darcy, the left foot, long, he's pulled it across to the near side. Anguish on the young man's face and disappointment. So the Western Bulldogs, they're third behind. 3 goals 4 now. Beg your pardon, too quick there.
Just another example of kicking too far out, and that's where they picked all their points at the Western Bulldogs.
Stephen Phoebe, the designated kicker, as they call it in the 90s football. We don't have full-backs anymore. We have designated kickers as he sends it out wide, looking for his teammate in Gergie, but Darcy's in front now. Mark West sends it back. This could be a miracle goal from the Bulldogs. That's close to the line. And he's there. What a ripper.
Touch the goalpost.
Oh, no. It's killed it.
It drifted back there just to right.
Oh, well,
Right-hand turn.
Well, we're allowed to get excited anyway. It was a magnificent-looking kick as the wind sort of drifted it through, but I think Mark West was even more excited than I was, as you'd expect. Anyway, Stephen Phoebe will try again.
He's got a bit of spark about him, though.
Yep,
He's
it's only his 4th game for the year, is it?
Yep. Has been on the Brisbane, or formerly Brisbane Bears list.
Okay. Seacamp. Now chipped it into Vine. He wants to play on quickly. That's the go. Now go wide to Lamprell. Open it up for the Demon forwards now to Brett Lovett. Chipping around the Demons, but they're keeping possession to Cowell. Has been injury prone throughout his career. Now back to Lamprell. Looking for Charles. Uze keeps his feet. Gergie should just replace Newton. If he can pick it up, keep your eyes on it, son. Liberatore doesn't allow that. Great pressure from the Bulldogs. That is what Terry Wallace wants to see.
He was just a little bit nervous there, Gergie. You just had to keep your eye on the ball, son, and pick it up.
Centre wing up by Dennis Rich says, keep him clean. Darcy in front of Steins. Even Stevens, Glenn Lovett, captain for the Demons today. Now Charles spins around on his right foot, but only finding Liberatore on centre wing.
On the left foot, Liver drives in towards centre forward, looking for Grant. Ingerson there again with the spoil. Numbers the Demons way, and Lampel sees the ball over the line and out of bounds. Chris Grant, some doubt this week as to whether he'd take the place. Paul Couch pointed out a very heavily strapped thigh for Chris Grant. Darcy, Steins gets front position, but Darcy gets away to West. Great little give, Ramiro, there's the rugby line out. Brown's away, 55 metres out, kicks towards Cook and got him. That is a great piece of play. The quick hands from the boundary line contest, initiated there by Mark West, finishing up with Nathan Brown through Jose Ramiro, and now James Cook with the opportunity, only some 10 metres out.
It was real Morris medal form, wasn't it, Nathan Brown, Terry?
Morris medal.
He won the Morris last year.
There is certain form that goes with that ball.
Oh.
James Cook, he's kicked it. Western Bulldogs 4 goals.
Great play by there's that Wolf Russell. That's magnificent. Darcy, good little tap there. Ramiro worked well. Brown, a great pass. A beautiful handball by West there to Ramiro. Brown on the bolt, and a good pass straight to Cook, and a great goal.
Well, that's what the Bulldogs have been lacking in recent weeks. A forward that can actually convert goals, because the Minton Connell's been struggling. Hudson's now in the seconds. They've been relying on Chris Grant to kick his 20 for the season. Luke Darcy spent a week in the seconds last week. He's got 20 goals. Matthew Croft out with a foot ligament problem. He's got 17, but James Cook, they need him to fire, and he's kicked his first as Matthew Dent, back from suspension this week. Flies through the centre of the ground for the Bulldogs, sending them up forward. Cook can't take the mark, hits the ground. Everyone throws himself on it. Grant, as well as Adam Uze. Good desperate stuff from the Demon.
And Liberatore's picking up Farmer. Farmer's playing on the half-forward flank for Melbourne, and Little Liver's just making sure he's around.
Coach Greg Hutchison just pondering how we can reduce this lead. It's now 3 goals, 3. Centre half forward for the Bulldogs. Grant. Now Darcy it is. They look alike. Now Dent is becoming very busy. Gets his kick, but intercepted by McDonald. Called a play on from umpire Harvey. Out towards centre wing. Demons are lacking a lot of direction as Scotty Wine, under a bit of pressure, thumps the ball to the boundary line. Gets the applause of his teammates as well as the crowd.
And Melbourne persisting at kicking out wide. Greg Hutchison, 3 or 4 weeks to see we're going to go long to centre half forward, and we haven't seen a lot of that at the moment.
Centre wing, we're just under 5 minutes remaining in the first term. Bulldogs by 21 points. Scotty West, Clarkson, Pyman on his left boot. Really kicks it ambitiously. Neats is behind. You've got to get in front, son. Liberatore now back into the fray. Nathan Brown showing a lot of maturity for his age of 18 years. Brett Lovett gives his opponent a shove in the back. A free kick will go to Leon Cameron in the centre of the ground.
Cameron goes short again to Brown.
He's got a lot of kicks, Brown.
He's already had seven disposal there. The left foot long towards Grant again. Ground level support, it's not there. It's all for the Demons. Viney with Seacamp towards the wing. Strong mark under the pressure there from Phoebe. Daniel Southern right on him. Umpire Michael Sexton calling for Southern to let him go. He does do that. Phoebe short. McDonald go long on the left foot. Does do that towards Neats. Doesn't quite favour him. Oh!
Thank you very much.
Doesn't quite favour him. Who said that? Neats was moving towards his right-hand side and then had to come back, and look at that.
Oh, that is magnificent.
That's what you come to see league footy for. Great mark by David Neats. But it's good play by Melbourne there. They went direct into their forward line. They could have kicked it wide out to Swartz, but they opted for the longer option, and it's worked in their favour.
So Neats now back in the last 6 weeks from the jaw injury, but gee, right across the face of goal. Some pushing and shoving. The free kick to Wine against Farmer.
He's been good in that back half, Scotty Wine. That's the 3rd time he's got it out for the Western Bulldogs today, early in the piece.
David Neats kicked 22 goals in those first 7 games before fracturing his jaw. Since then, just 3 in the last 7. Half-back flank. Western Bulldogs, Robert Pyman on screen. keep playing the umpires, don't they? Keep quizzing, asking. Melbourne opened the game with the first goal.
Last
5-minute mark of the first quarter was their last score. Charles steps out on the right foot, scrubs it in towards the forward line. Southern misses out. Woden, a handball on towards the runner. Pyman out to Big Newton. The left foot bounces one, bounces to the wrong side, and the one behind. And Newton playing his 12th game.
And Scotty Wine's got a bit of a limp there, Terry. Doesn't look 100%. Look like it might be a little bit of a corky. He's not moving well at all.
He's copped a few heavy knocks. He copped one in the right arm as D. Southern drags Darren Cowell to the ground. He's creeping behind. Maybe he was trying to punch the ball away, but interfered with him. But the kick was pretty woeful. Like looking for a Melbourne lead, but there were 3 or 4 Western Bulldogs players and allowing Rowan Smith to take a well-timed mark in defence. Number 5 for the Bulldogs. Rowan Smith, State of Origin player this year. Vastly improved player and an excellent contributor to the Bulldogs' success so far this year as Uze breaks through a pack onto his left boot. Here's a chance for the Demons now, but in front, again in front, Simon Cox for the Bulldogs as David Schwartz just lets him know that if you're going to be in front of me, you're going to earn your kick. He's trying to take advantage of the unfit Schwartz. They play him quickly, but they do well, the Demons, keeping the ball in their forward line, allowing mistakes and good pressure. So good work for the Demons.
Good work, but it was... The handball was unnecessary there, Russell. Should have went long. Get it out of the danger area.
I think you find, though, a lot of players think they have to handball. Every time they get it, where do I handball it to? I don't know where this has started. It's like the last 10 years, it's like handball mania instead of these long kicks. But anyway, Scotty Wine under the pack, getting a D. Southern with strength. Credial around the corner, it's smothered. Ball's going nowhere. Nathan Brown now on his right boot. Off the side of it goes. Out of bounds on the full. Straight into the pie stand. And the free kick will go to Robert Pyman.
Western Bulldogs are doing a great job in Melbourne's forward line there, just blocking it up there. Dimitina's dropping back west. Rowan Smith is making it very hard for the Demons to score.
Pyman opens it up, bringing Adam Uze into the game. He will kick from about 52 to 55 metres. Slight angle.
And there's about 40 in the 50-metre arc here.
There's only 2 players
down the other end, Russell.
Going the torp off the side of the boot, or is it a drop punt? As the way he dropped it, Newton over the back can't mark it. Now by Woden looking for something special on his left foot. He's harassed by West. Now it's Darcy. Now to Dimitina. That ball is away over the half-back. Looking for Marcus over his head. It's a foot race. Glenn Lovett. Desperate stuff again. Electing to go to the boundary line. Off the ground it goes. Centre wing.
The Bulldogs are doing a great job of clogging up the Western Demons forward line there. They only had 2 players outside that 50-metre arc. That was James Cook and Seacamp down the other end.
So just forward of the wing for the Western Bulldogs. Steins, Viney, nowhere handball. Works it towards Lovett to Uze. Some strength here from Viney on the follow-up. Kicks on long towards the half-forward line. Schwartz in front position. Newton, Southern in front. Pressure from Newton's good. Liberatore, Farmer over the top of him. Boundary throw in. Tony Liberatore playing in defence. Started with Charles, now has Farmer. Approaching 200 games worth of experience for Tony Liberatore, and he will need all that experience against those players. Wind again, takes it out of the air this time. Newton, no match in height for the big fella, but Newton comes back in hard again. By Dennis Rich, not bounce the ball, right on quarter time, and a quarter where Melbourne got away with the first goal, but Western back with the next 4 to lead 4 goals. The second quarter, Melbourne this time have the aid of a slight breeze here at Optus Oval, behind left of screen. Western Bulldogs used that breeze in the first quarter. Kicked 4 goals, 5, and Grant, the centre half forward, aggressive early. Takes the free kick, has Mark West out wide. He has a heap of space. Brings it back in central. Great kick to Cook.
Great play, Mark West there. Beautiful kick. Put the ball out in front. Kicked it out in front there. Beautiful lead by Cook. Gave him time, space to work into. Made him run into, made his own space. and time there, Cook, and a beautiful pass.
Where's he been, Terry? It's only his 4th game for the year.
Mark West?
Yeah.
Yep, long time in the reserves. He played 3 games mid-season, around 9, 10, and 11. Really just, I think the competition in the midfield with Romero, Liberatore has held him out. Now they've identified Libra in this particular game to go back in defence. He has an opportunity. James Cook, a goal scorer in the first quarter for the Dogs. They have kicked the last 4 goals of the game. The first one up into the breeze. And the breeze does influence it up there slightly, and away it goes to the left-hand side.
Just in that first quarter, Terry, the Melbourne side had 71 disposals and the Western Bulldogs 57, and they led the quarter time, the Western Bulldogs, by 20 points. Just overuse of the ball.
Good point, very good point. Because I'm sure that by chipping it around.
Chipping it around, you've got 3 marking players, Neitz, Newton and Swartz, kick it long.
As Darren Cowell, a designated kicker, looks to kick long, looking for Steins. Viney showing some strength in the packs as per usual. Now a bit of time, not many options running past, so he's forced to stand, kick it off 1 step as Neitz from behind tries to punch it clear of the big mitts of Chris Grant, but to no avail. Is too good. He goes wide. Matthew Dent dancing around opponents. Now Tony Liberatore, left footer inside 50, close to the boundary line, over the top of everyone. Now Viney. No communication there for the Demons. He could have steadied and had a look for an option, but was forced to kick quickly only because he didn't know what was going on around him. The free kick will go to Tony Liberatore for the Bulldogs.
Dimitina's loose there, Russell.
Missed with a hamstring. Romero going inboard, the Bulldogs looking to set something up. Beautiful pass. Unable to take the mark was Cook. Now Steins with the handball. Bringing McDonald into it. The 1-2 back to Steins. The 1-2-3 back to McDonald.
5-6.
Now the left footer. Kick long as Couchy's calling. The big high flies. Neitz again was behind. Crediok, Smith. All Bulldogs. Curley. Now the running Ryan Smith through the centre. Go the Bulldogs up forward. They're going wide 2 against 1. Ingerson, the punch. As Marcus Seacamp has jumped in the back of James Cook, and the Bulldog supporters calling for a free kick, but to no avail. Throw it in.
With those 3 or 4 handballs that Melbourne used, it just gave the Western Bulldogs time, Dimitina to get back, the Ron Ballers to get back, and it makes it very hard for Neitz to get a kick. He's playing against 5 or 6 players.
Steins and Darcy get it down to the ground level, and the equally tall Grant charges through. Loses the run of the ball. Melbourne now through Lovett. Across the body. Blindly, Dimitina set the wall up. Takes the mark. Well ran down. Uze, great play. Free kick.
It's those 3 weeks missing, Terry. You just lose the edge, don't you?
Uze, left foot. Neitz, Crediok, out bundles him. Liberatore marks behind, superior judgment. 9th disposal to Liberatore. Dent. Asked to play on, does so. Kicks into the true centre-half forward position. Johnson and Hopgood. Hopgood holding Johnson. Free kick. On quickly. The lead's good from Cook. The kick is excellent from Johnson. And the knee in the back is unnecessary. Totally unnecessary. Umpire should turn him around and report him. He does. Marcus, silly move, boy.
And 50 as well, Terry. Now that's a good call. That is so true. Unnecessary.
That's the difference between the sides, though. The Western
can't show it again. But they should. It's also 50. Isn't that the rule, Terry?
Yeah, he will take him back. The umpires just standing. Umpire Dennis Rich just standing off watching, while umpire John Harvey also completes the reporting procedure here. See Dennis Rich standing out the back just watching for anything else that may stir in this conversation between players and staff. Now they apply the 50-metre penalty.
Smart move. Leon Cameron pushed Jose Romero out. It was unnecessary. They've got the free kick. The report's been taken. Kick the goal. That's all they need. They've got to win this game. That's
right.
Keep their focus on the footy.
The Western Bulldogs' delivery into their forward line has been a lot better than Melbourne's, and that's the difference at the moment. The better use of the ball, and just a notice of the disposals. 71 of the Demons and the Western Bulldogs 57s.
Cook has kicked his second, courtesy of the 50-metre penalty against Marcus Seacamp.
Great play there by Brad Johnson, a beautiful pass to Cook, and he gave himself some space to work in to Cook, a beautiful lead. All the Western Bulldogs forward players up around the half-forward flank. He was left on his own and a beautiful mark under extreme pressure.
Well, his penance has been to move Seacamp out onto Chris Grant. I mean, I don't know where I'd rather be. I think I'd rather be back on James Cook than playing on Chris Grant. Maybe that is the penance. You've got to take on the best. No, sorry, it's Luke Darcy. They look alike. You've got to take on Luke Darcy. Lampool down onto the fullback, onto James Cook. As umpire Sexton throws the pigskin onto the ground now. Scotty Wine finding West. He's been good, Mark West. Now Ingerson's moved up the ground. Clarkson on centre wing, onto the left foot. Looking for options. One of those is Stephen Phoebe. Excellent punch from D. Southern from behind. That's disciplined stuff the Bulldogs want. McDonald now to Viney, looking to set some stuff up. Poor kick allowing Dimittina to take a little mini screamer. He's rushed it. Dimittina looks very unsettled today. He's missed a couple of weeks with a hamstring. He was caught before, run down, and a poor kick to the opposition. Again, another poor kick from the Demons. Finding Luke Darcy at centre-half back. Now Nathan Brown has the run on the ball. Centre wing. He has time. It's well shepherded from his teammate. Left footer. Beautiful lead and pass. Lace out to Chris Grant. Great work.
It's been a difference so far, Russell. A beautiful disposal by Nathan Brown and Scotty West, and he's loose again.
Grant chipping in, opening up the goals for Leon Cameron. Cameron coming up for his fourth kick.
Very important play for Western Bulldogs.
His sixth possession. Kick is long. Cook in front of the pad, but the umpire, John Harvey, has sent a free kick to Newton. Was harassed off the ball. His kick finding Palmer on the left half-back for the Demons.
Climbing with attention from Mark West. Feeds off to the range, Clarkson. He eventually goes long towards centre forward. Charles in front position, can't complete the mark. Crediok for the Dogs. Neitz does the tackling, too high. No, Crediok not in possession of the ball against Neitz on that occasion. Dent takes it, Dimittina. Space at half-back. West heavy shepherding behind. Gives Dimittina the chance to give it to Montgomery just on the ground. He doesn't mess around. The kick to Cook. Cook in front position. Lampool, great spoil. Hopgood there to assist him. Wants the line, goes the line, gets the line. Free kick against him.
Once again, the Western Bulldogs disposal is troubling Melbourne. Great play again, the Western Bulldogs. Just taking their time when they got the ball. They know they can't get run down very often from behind. And they're just taking their time to use the ball beautifully and make the player like Brad Johnson run into the mark.
Johnson kicked the first goal for the Western Bulldogs in the first quarter here. This time he kicks to the top of the square. The pack form comes down. Charles, little feinted handball. Eventually had to love it. This is dangerous territory for the Demons. They gather it through Viney. Now he's come back into trouble. The tackle was good. The ball is still loose. Now Newton, they've eventually got it outside 50 to half-back. The mark taken there by Pyman.
Well, again, the Demons...
Well, too wide, Terry.
They're struggling for possession. Well, no, they've got possession, but they're struggling for distance, I suppose. That's probably the first long kick we've seen in a long time by Robert Pyman, but it lands in the arms of Stephen Crediok. Back into the side, one of 5 changes for the Bulldogs. Liberatore out wide. We've got Curley. We've got Bulldogs running everywhere. Curley going back inboard, changing a lot of direction here. Hopgood going again, looking for solace at the boundary line. Johnson trying to slip it off the ground. Now a chance. Lucks a fortune straight to his arms, opening up the goals. Now Viney in defence for the Demons can relieve this pressure and finds the running Brett Lovett. He looks to play on quickly. Kicks it open to open space. We've got David Neitz and Crediok, also Rowan Smith, one of the speedsters, but Neitz is quicker than all of them. Handball from Ingerson out to Woden. Chance now for the Demons to set something up. Excellent work from Schwartz. Great body work, allowing himself to take an uncontested chest mark.
Great strength by David Schwartz there to push Cox off there. And it's good to see David Schwartz, who's had 2 bad knee injuries, back and playing for Melbourne. Hopefully he'll get back right and get a pre-season under his belt and look forward to next year.
He's kicked 17 goals, 10 in his 8 games. This being his 9th for the year, across the face of goal. Was taken over the line by Luke Darcy. He marked it over the line, so it's behind to David Schwartz. They're behind to the Demons, taking them to 1-4-10. Their first goal was the first score of the match in probably the first minute or 2. And now the Bulldogs have kicked 5-6-36 to 1-4-10.
So with a little bit of possession football, they eventually have the ball with Southern at half-back. He maintains that style for Liberatore on the wing. He should now look to bring it inboard. Besides against that, slightly wider. Grant gave the opportunity out there, but Ingerson in front. Good mark from the defender. Breaks away on the left foot.
He had nowhere to kick it there, Terry. Nowhere whatsoever.
Just the direction of the ball, though, to go to the boundary line makes it easy for the defence just to push the ball over the line. Rowan Smith did that, and it's very hard for David Neitz, who's playing at centre-half forward. The Melbourne side need more direction.
So that graphic confirms what Russell Morris was saying. 3-minute mark of the first quarter was Melbourne's last and only goal. Now they have another opportunity building up through McDonald. He kicks well into centre-half forward. Crediot leading Neitz. Now Uze comes in, bundles Crediot out of the way with just a little subtle touch. Crediot comes back with one not so fine, and the ball will be thrown in.
But Terry, they've made no ground there. They're out the other side of the ground there, about 60 out from their goals, and they were 60 out on the other side of the ground. They just went straight across the ground, Melbourne, then.
There is an argument for a big beacon to be put up behind the goals.
Where's the goal square?
So here they come. Hyman, he's chosen the right one. To the top of the square. Farmers a fly over the back. It's Clarkson. He's kicked the goal. Couchy, well coached, son.
Isn't that amazing football, boys, to go to the top of the goal square, put pressure on the Western Bulldogs defence. A mistake was made. Clarkson was behind the pack there, probably not the best option to be. But there again, there's a goal. 10 yards out from the goal square, Melbourne's goal square, and luck's a fortune. I think over the back, goal.
I mean, that's a fair point without sounding flippant. I mean, that call was, oh, isn't that strange, someone kicking it towards goal, but that's what's happened most of the day. It's been interesting to watch. It
was just an interesting play there, Russell. They've gone from one side of the ground to the other and made no ground.
Umpire John Harvey bounces the ball. The Demons have just put their second on the board. 2-4-16. They trail the Bulldogs 5-6-36 as D Southern takes a great mark on the half-back line for the Bullies. He changes direction, but the Bulldogs have been doing better. Jose Romero will show us exactly what the Bulldogs system is all about. Running into space, then hooking it straight inboard. That's what it's all about, going direct. Now Montgomery is again going wide, only because he's got Romero on his own. Now 10 or 15 metres clear to steady and put the ball at the point of the square. Good punch and good defence from the Demons, allowing Cal to handball to Lovett, back to Glenn Lovett. He in turn going wide to Uze, takes on his opponent, handballs the ball to the ground, and should have been giving holding the man he was.
Couch and Melbourne have got the structure on. Schwartz out at centre forward, can't move, needs the more mobiles down at full forward.
They're just struggling there.
Uze to Lovett to the running Cal. This looks better for the Melbourne side. Running towards goals, Farmer can't mark. Neitz unable to get his possession of the ball. Now Crediot and West through heavy traffic. That's what the Bulldogs are all about. Again, Romero through the centre of the ground. Just unmarked Darcy, centre-half forward, good smother from Newton. Now Pyman, centre of the ground, setting up for Viney. 3 handballs, 4 handballs, ducked under pressure. 4 possessions, going nowhere. And the Bulldogs are away with Curley. Johnson from 50. They may make Melbourne pay. What a great goal from Johnson. No, it's not. Only one behind.
4 or 5 disposals there in the centre of the ground. Russell, overuse of the ball. 1 kick from Brad Johnson, and they score. The interesting thing, Farmer didn't look like it there at centre-half forward, and just body language at quarter time, he just didn't seem interested, Farmer.
So Cow comes in short. It's away with a kick to Lovett. Brett Lovett. The in turn to Viney. He's racking up possessions. That's his 15th disposal. Uze, the left foot. Glenn Lovett. Now he needs to straighten it up. He does to Newton. He needs to go long. Tosses it up. The contest there. Curley, very good. Phoebe not committed to coming back as hard as he should have. Grant pushed up the ground to half back. Has Dimartina loose. Mark West does his shepherding, allows Dimartina to go. Cook's on the lead. A little bit over the top. Pushing back Lampool. Montgomery roving. Bounced it. Forced through by Hopgood.
They're just like a more committed side, the Western Bulldogs, to scoring, and the one-on-one contest where they're winning all the time there. It's a very good play by the Western Bulldogs and using the ball beautifully today. And I can't see the Demons winning at this stage, Terry. They don't even look like it.
13 scoring shots to 6. Dominance is with the Western Bulldogs without doubt. Cowell into Ingerson was forced back by the Bulldog forwards. Great little flip over. Ramiro couldn't get onto the end of it. Clarkson now from half back. Funny little right foot kick, but it's effective to Pyman. Long into half forward. Schwartz on the end of it.
2 possessions down, now a shot at goal.
And David Schwartz is troubling Cox there with his brute strength.
Wastes no time. Drops it in short again. The run from Lovett.
That's better play by the Demons there. 2 kicks from the full back line. Direct play. Schwartz, who looks a lot stronger than his opposition player in Cox, has made him pay 2 times in this quarter. And Brett Lovett, who's usually a pretty good kick, should kick from 35 out.
Schwartz back into it. And his return after the knee injury in round 11. And has been quite a focal point for the Melbourne side since then. He kicked 4 goals on one occasion, 3 goals on another 2. But this is not a regular goal scorer for Melbourne. Brett Lovett, the halfback flanker. 3 for the season. He's settled over it. He's done pretty well. Well done, halfback flanker. So Lovett comes down the ground, picks up his first. He gets Melbourne 3rd. And in the context of the game, they've kicked the last 2 goals of the match.
Yeah, well, it's hard to judge, Terry. They like just, it was good play by Melbourne. Then just to get the ball on quickly, even if it's a rush kick from a packed situation, that's what you need to do. Get the ball on quickly. Your forwards have got to be in front. You've got Schwartz and Meets, who are probably the best players for the Demons, and they're getting it down too slow to them, make it very difficult for their forward line.
At least I think the Demons have shown that if they do go direct, they can get score on the board. They trail by 16 points here at Optus Oval as Chris Grant bursts out of the centre of the ground. He's playing at centre-half forward, but also he's playing a good Rovers game from a forward's point of view. As Leon Cameron's kick into the forward line has been spoilt by a free kick against James Cook. A push against Cook will go to Lamprell. Now Ingerson provides an option out wide. Now he's got a bit of time to size the situation up. He steadies, has a bounce, kicks long up towards half forward line. Good punch from Credill. Wind, has a rover to Scotty West. Doesn't let him down. Brown again. The 1-2 back to West. 40-metre kick. Chris Grant all on his own. Where is his opponent? We don't know. There's Bulldogs everywhere. One of those is Darcy. Look, I'll just kick it to you. Let's just take it in turns at the forward line to have a shot. That's scenario that we can see at present at Optus Oval in the Footscray, the Western Bulldogs forward line. They're only 5'8", so they may have wasted a few opportunities. They had a lot of the ball. As Darcy realises here, he's just practising his kicking style. Big left footer. He's about 6'5", 6'6". He's kicked 2 behind, so he's one of the culprits. He'll kick directly in front from about 48 metres. Kick looks good, but pushes it to the right, so he's 3 behinds for Luke Darcy. 5'9" for the Bulldogs. 17 points, the difference, as he's not too happy, is there's the Melbourne's brain trust with Hutchison and Gary Lyon in the background. All wondering, the Demon supporters will be wondering when we can see him back. And the number 3 Guernsey. Demon captain, or the acting captain here, Glenn Lovett. Now the designated kicker. Just over 7 minutes remaining in the half. Bulldogs by 17 points.
Ingerson, a couple of goes at it. He's awarded the mark from umpire Sexton. Good job on Grant. He gives it to Lovett. He followed up from the kick in. Short to Uze. Now towards half forward. Meets in front position. Credill reads the bounce of the ball better. Works now with Smith. Great little feint by Smith. Finds space and away he goes. Gives it into Dent. Plenty of room inboard. Grant's out here all by himself. Drops the mark uncharacteristically. Under pressure, though. Gives the handball to Brown. On his non-preferred right foot. Floats the ball into Cook. Ingerson gets there, does the spoiling.
And that was Chris Grant's man there. He dropped back into the Western Bulldogs forward line there and averted the punch. A good punch straight to the boundary line. That's where you want it. And start again.
So Ingerson now moving up the stand next to Chris Grant. Newton and Darcy doing the ruck work. It's over the back. Grant the roving. Viney. Clarkson scrubs it along the line out of bounds. Mr. Clarkson, been a week in the reserves last week after playing every game up to that stage.
He wouldn't be talking too much to Scotty Westwood. Terry is noted for his antagonism and cheek out in the ground. Clarkson.
Darcy and Newton.
Loves the chat.
Darcy will try over the back. Newton takes the front. It's on towards the wing position. Gurley controlling the back there against Pyman. Gurley, the goal scorer last year. Actually number 3 on the goal scoring list. Behind Watts and Hargrave. Curley kicked 22 last year. And Watts isn't in the side, Hargraves is in the side, and Curley yet to score one all year. Changing of the guard. Melbourne now. Love it. To Steins. A bit of run from the big fella. Kicking towards Schwartz is good. Cox does enough. The push. It's allowed to go on. Liberatore doing the switch play from the back pocket. Pushes on wide out to Dimatina and Smith. They play it in that order. Dimatina takes the ball. Smith does the shepherding. Ramiro takes the high ball at half-back. Back to Smith.
Shoots it out to Smith. There was a bit of time to steady. Back to Ramiro. The pressure's still on. They're not out of trouble yet. Still good spoil by Viney. Uze unable to control the footy. Now Viney bringing Stephen Phoebe into the game. Onto his left foot. Stephen Crediel, thank you very much. I'll just take that one and shoot it out to Todd Curley on half-back line. The Bulldogs are away again. A couple of bounces. Up the centre of the ground looking for Chris Grant. Oh, it's Darcy it is. The twin brothers. Onto the left foot. Looking to open up those goals. Brad Johnson. Too much class for Hopgood.
He's improved over the last couple of years.
Just state of origin player and an excellent game against South Australia at Football Park earlier in the year. So he's matured beautifully.
The other thing about him, he's a very good mark overhead for not a tall man. He's only standing about 178 or something.
It's only his second grab, but it'll be his 6th kick as the kick from 50 is off the side of the boot. But allowing Darcy again, he's been a very, very good aerialist so far for the Bulldogs, but that just shows playing in front will pay off.
And she was an intelligent kick there by Brad Johnson. He just kicked it up in the air, knew he had Darcy there, Grant, and used their height, and a good mark by Darcy there. It was good play.
So we have Darcy with 6 marks, Grant with 5, and those two, and that's been the difference. The marks that those 2 tall players have taken have been straightening the game up in the forward line to the western side.
So Darcy will take the shot from about directly in front, 35 metres out. He's kicked 3 behinds. The Bulldogs are only 5-9 to 3-4, so it's not as if it's a cakewalk as yet. The Bulldogs have controlled the game. Melbourne have been very erratic with their movement of the ball. They've gone very wide and used the ball, I suppose, a lot worse than the Bulldogs. But Darcy's put his first on the board. That'll be a relief for the boy. Bulldogs says 6th, Darcy's first.
Good play by Brad Johnson there. Gave the ball some air. Didn't go for goals. Knew he had Luke Darcy. Here it is. Just chips it in the air like a 9-iron. And Darcy takes a great grab there. An intelligent play by Brad Johnson. Just smart work by him. And a good goal there by Darcy. And that's what the Doggies needed, because they've had plenty of shots at goal. They've had 15 shots to 7 to Melbourne.
So 23 points now the difference. Just over 4 minutes of play left in the first half. Wine, the great tackling, allows Ramiro the chance for the quick kick out of the centre. Bounces over. Newton met by Grant. Melbourne pushing out wide once again, forced to go that way from the western forwards.
I thought he was going to be in the Alfred Hospital there, Terry. Chris Grant come through.
It's always a worry when that bouncing ball just sits up there and you're the man underneath it. Steins in front, takes it this time, his kick. It's a high ball, West, Clarkson doesn't hesitate. He goes to this ball over the line, out of bounds.
Charles is back on for Farmer, Terry, so 2 forwards replacing each other, and Liberatore is back onto Charles, which is another surprise.
And I'm not sure whether that's the right sort of move there, because you're taking off one, but they're the same sort of player. I reckon the real momentum may be to play both of them on the ground at one stage. But be that as it may, Melbourne now moving forward again. They're just forward of centre, in the centre square. Bulldogs defence, Smith, Brown. It's not St Kilda, this is Western Bulldogs. Long goes Woden on the left foot and Neats behind. Charles now, Liberatore does some tackling. It's forced through.
A little aggressive, Libby's about 6 inches smaller than Charles, but he did a good job there. Harassed him, and Credioc's been a good player on Neats today on the one-on-one contest.
Rowan Smith chip kick. Finding Scotty West again, all too easy. A bit of a training run for the Bulldogs here. Brown to the running West. They're not picking up their men, the Demons. West has Dent. West has run from the back pocket. He's taken 3 possessions, and all of them have been very effective, including that one landing in the arms of Montgomery. So Scotty West will be responsible for building that play up for the Bulldogs, and now will allow Montgomery to chip the ball into the goal square. Opening up the face. Chris Grant over the top. Oh, can't repeat that big screamer. Now, James Cook had a bit of time and hooked it around his body. Very unlike a full forward. Generally, a full forward will know exactly where the goals are and slot that through, but out of bounds.
Just a panic kick there, wasn't it?
It was. He just didn't realise he had the amount of time that he had, did
That's
he?
right. He should have known. That's what good players are. They realise how much space is around them, Terry. And just a panic kick there by Cook.
So Scott Wine in front of Steins. Wine with the right hand, only finding Viney. Now manages to sink a beautiful spiral torpedo up to the centre of the ground. Schwartz a long way out from goal, showing them how to do it. Has to do a U-turn. No one running past with a handball. Kicks long. Charles is harassed by Curley. Great defensive punch from the Bulldog, and out of bounds on the right half forward line for the Melbourne side. Bit of dust in their eyes. It's been a pretty relatively dry winter.
Dust.
Well, that's where they're wiping dust and grass out of their eyes. Charles bit the dust in the goal square when Liberatore drove him into the goal square. He said, "Boys, leave me alone." Half forward line for the Melbourne side. Steins, that's Schwartz it is, who dives in late on top of Matthew Dent. Just 2 minutes remaining in the half. The Bullies 6-9, leading Melbourne 3-5. Up by Sexton. Slams it into the Optus Oval turf. Scotty Wine and Dent allowing the ball to go over the line. The Western Bulldogs sitting 9th. Spent a bit of time on the top of the ladder, so a win here puts them back into the 8. Whereas Melbourne side looking at rebuilding and replanning for 1998 with only 3 wins and a pitiful percentage of 57% as Charles now looking for Pyman, who sends it up forward looking for Clarkson. Scotty West is too good. Look at the class there, eyes on the ball, and the great vision of Tricredial, but still under trouble as Rowan Smith is caught at centre-half back, and it'll be a bounce.
Scott West has a twin brother who is an exceptional basketball player, and I think you just saw a little bit of that then in Scott West, didn't you?
Oh.
This ability to just be able to handle the ball in quick when it's close and tight.
Great touch of hands there, Terry.
So Terry Wallace looking on as we approach quarter half time. His side leading by 22 points. They're defending at the moment inside their defensive 50.
I suppose, would he be overly happy before half-time, Terry? I know they're only 22 points in front, but they haven't looked convincing at all, the Western Bulldogs, today.
No, they haven't been able to shake the Melbourne side just yet, and you just never know when the umpiring decisions may swing the other way, because Western Bulldogs have been favoured by some.
Free kick.
Here's a decision now to the Western Bulldogs. Ramiro takes it, away he goes. Wobbles the kick in towards the forward line. Montgomery. Cow for Melbourne. Quick give by Phoebe, on out to Pyman. Goes straight back out. Front position to Curley.
He's played very well, Curley, today.
Free kicks at this stage. Western 19, Melbourne 7. Wyndon Cox. Left foot. Finds Southern. Still just the defensive side of the wing. Who kick to half forward. Goes long. Montgomery. Very good build for a half forward, and that he can work at ground level in the air. There's a fine display of his marking ability to Cameron, who's floated on. So Leon Cameron, right on the half-time siren, has kicked a goal, kicked one in the first quarter. Western Bulldogs leading by 22 points at this stage.
You've coached him, Terry. Will he kick this goal? It's a beautiful kick.
I would say that he would kick this shot at least 60 times a week at the Whitten Oval.
Put it through.
That's where they kick from, as you're going up the race at the Whitten Oval.
What about at Optus Oval?
He will kick this.
Righto.
On the right foot. He's given it everything. He's given it. Oh, Leon, you let me down, mate.
There you go.
So 23 points now. Western Bulldogs been able to withstand a surge here from Melbourne, not able to completely shake them at half-time.
Well, they've only kicked 2 goals that quarter, Terry. Like, they had 4-5-29. They led by 20 points at quarter time, and the way the game was playing, Couchy, like Melbourne were messing around with the ball. You'd half expect the Bulldogs side to be at least maybe 5 or 6 goals up at half-time.
Well, they've had 16 shots, the Western Bulldogs, to Melbourne's 8, and they've been dominating the play, but they just haven't got the result there. Cook's missed a couple of chances. Darcy's kicked poorly.
Yeah.
It's kicked from about 50 out, so they're hard to kick, but just their beautiful delivery into the forward line. This Western Bulldogs, that's where it's been the difference.
So at half-time, Western Bulldogs have exactly doubled the Melbourne score. 6-10 plays. Third quarter at Optus Oval, the Western Bulldogs leading by 23 points. Exactly doubled the score of the Melbourne side. 2-5 in the second quarter, Melbourne 2-3. McDonald wrapped up in the curly tackle, goes nowhere.
And the Demons were not without a chance here, Terry. They're only 23 points behind. If they could get a bit of a run in here, kick a couple of goals early, they're half a chance.
Steins directing traffic. Will go shoulder to shoulder with Wine. They do that. Neither effectively out. Durgett can't get the ball away. West, great little give out to his namesake, Mark West, on the right foot into half forward. Bounce favours Montgomery to Cameron on the right foot, hooks it around, but nowhere near enough. One behind.
No, you should have given it to Romero running past there, Terry. There was an option.
Straight running kick is always the preferred option.
Yep.
Just never kick around the corner.
Melbourne bench, Lee Newton sitting on it. The kick in, finds Viney. Sweeps on out wide. Viney racking up possessions. That's 19 to this stage. Uze short on. Durgett, the young player on the ground.
His kick wobbles forward. Glenn Lovett. Now the Demons with good possession, but they're kicked it wide. They're running up the broadcast wing, but beautiful mark by David Schwartz. Just strength and also class. And hooks it in with the big left hand.
Hooks it in with it.
And that's what we were talking about. Get Schwartz in that one-on-one contest where he's not necessarily leading. He's going to be a very damaging player.
Just too strong for Cox, and that's the third time that David Schwartz has out-buffered him 3 times. Just about 10 or 15 kilos heavier than Cox. It just doesn't seem the right matchup there, and I wouldn't be surprised if Craig Ellis would come out and have a run at the moment, because I think it'd be good for him to get out on the ground and get a bit of form going for himself. He's been a bit disappointing the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, David Schwartz looking for the Demons' 4th. Reduce the margin if they can to 17 points. The kick hits the woodwork. So 22 points the difference just in the first couple of minutes of this third term at Optus Oval.
It's important early to get those goals, just to put the pressure back on the Bullies, who Melbourne are not out of it at the moment.
It was a good build-up from the kick out from full back. So it's 23 points of difference. I missed that Leon Cameron behind as the kick out, finding D. Southern, right half back for the Bulldogs. His option is Stephen Crediok, and he doesn't let him down with an excellent mark in front of Alistair Clarkson. But again, Clarkson makes him earn it. He scratches and
look, he's over the way. They won't give it to him. He's a classic, isn't he? Clarkson just holds up the play there for the Western Bulldogs. So
he must be just annoying.
He's a pest. He's a pest.
It's Stephen Crediok, half back for the Bulldogs. Kicks long, looking for Darcy. Scotty West, one of the best on ground for the Bulldogs. Romero to D. Summers, beautifully caught and slung to the ground by Lovett. Play onto the call. Viney off half-back to Stephen Phoebe through the centre of the ground. The Demons going a bit more direct now, so Greg Hutchison may be listening to the call. Now Woden kicks a good 40-metre chip kick to Uze. Now going inboard, one-on-one, Schwartz and Cox. Schwartz and Cox. Schwartz, it is.
Schwartzkopf.
Exactly what you called, Terry. Too much strength. A facsimile of that recent encounter with Cox held him out and pulled the ball in with the left hand. So here's a chance for Schwartz to put this one through. It's a very important goal for Melbourne. Looking for their 4th to reduce the margin. Doesn't let them down. They're 4th on the board. And David Schwartz first. So it's a critical goal, a critical start to the third term.
Well, we'd be happy with that, Paul, wouldn't we?
Yes, we're happy with that. A big quicken into Melbourne's forward line there. Good play. Uze, good pass to Schwartz. Kicked it on his right side there. Gave him the best option. And with strength, Schwartz takes a good mark. Just puts it on the right side of Schwartz there. Gives him that extra and a good left hand hook in. A Gary Ablett type there, Russell. And they're back into it here, Melbourne, with only 17 points behind.
So Schwartz with 2 shots at goal to open the third quarter. A miss with the first, but a goal with that one, giving Melbourne a chance. They get the ball quickly out. Love it. Works with McDonald to Hopgood, who's come down the ground. Kicks. Farmer. Front position there on Liberatore. Just enough to get out there. Taking the mark.
And we're just talking about that, Terry, weren't we, at half-time break there? The quick kick out of the centre. That's what's most important. Don't give a handball out there. Get it down to the forward line and put pressure on the Footscray, the Western Bulldogs players. And Farmer was in front of Little Libba there. Good mark in front.
So Farmer yet to score a goal. Number 2 on the goal-scoring list for Melbourne behind Neitz. He's got it. Melbourne have the first 2 of the quarter.
They took a quarter and a half to kick their second goal. Now they kicked 2 in 2 minutes. So the Demons are back in town.
11 points, Gouchy.
Just goes to show direct play. And that's where they've been good. Quick kick out, that's what you need.
Climbing's been good too.
And put pressure on. Love it again, quick hands. And another quick kick here. Wasn't it? That's all you need to do. Just get it on. A one-on-one situation. That's what you want.
Keep the ball moving as Jeff Farmer's having a quiet word to Tony Liberatore. Umpire Sexton bounces the ball. It's the Demons now trailing by 11 points. They've kicked the first 2 goals in this third term. As Nathan Brown under over the hammer. Time to steady, close to the line. Bouncing off the chest of Todd Curley. Beating everyone over the line.
Just wonder if there's a little bit of panic in the Western Bulldogs now. A little bit of urgency come on there. Just see how they handle this the next 5 minutes.
Well, the Bulldogs under the hammer. 2 goals for nothing in this vital third term. The premiership quarter. It's called as Neitz delicately swoops it down to the running Uze, who's unable to run on with the ball. He was caught under a Bulldog pack, being Luke Darcy. Just letting him know again.
He's had a reasonable day too. Russell, 11 kicks. The handballs
Been
there.
busy. So it's centre wing. Darcy in front of the pack. Gains a valuable 8 or 9 metres. Close to the line is Rowan Smith under the pressure of Hopgood. Gets a quick left foot kick. Chris Grant harassing Marcus Seacamp to the extent of giving away a free kick, according to umpire Dennis Rich. All 42 and a half years of experience, Dennis Rich, as field umpire. I know he loves me reminding everyone that he's close to 43 years old. As Viney shoots it inboard to Hopgood. Now he's starting to mess it around a little bit, but Hopgood decides to kick long, looking for half-forward line. Jim Steins from behind, went to punch, but a good mark by Luke Darcy.
Just don't like that play, Russell. It took too long to get it on to the Demons forward line there. They've got to get it on quicker.
So here's quickness. Darcy running out of half-back towards Grant. Roving by Cameron.
Oh.
Can he get away? Yes, he can. Plays out in front of himself. Bounce eventually back right on 50. Left foot. It's going to have to bounce in his favour. It hits the post.
Would have been a play by Cameron there to handball the ball in front of him and pick it up again. And it's hit the goal post for a point.
So 6 goals, 12 behinds to the Western Bulldogs. And that scoreline hasn't put the Melbourne side away. It's giving them a bit of a chance. And I think that's the sniff that Melbourne see just at the moment in the opening part of this third quarter. Lamprell. One out wide. Ramiro working with West. The pressure from Melbourne was good. Eventually with Steins. The forward handball to Pyman. Racking up possessions across half-back for the D's. Kicks the half-forward. Pushing, shoving, holding. No, a legitimate mark to Southern. Curley. Back inboard. Darcy, another mark. That's 9 for the afternoon. Montgomery. Moving the ball on are the Western Bulldogs. There's space here. Johnson accelerates from 55 metres out, not to the top of the square. The Demons get back, thump it through. Boundary throw in.
Great punch there by Shane Woden there. Punched the boundary line with a good right-hand punch. And that's what they just put it out and start again.
Well, Woden, what a pickup he's been. Taken in the pre-season draft just based upon a pure work ethic. Has played every game. Seacamp, Ingerson, back to Woden, the left foot, wide outside. The spoil from Southern on Garrick is good. The ball will be thrown in.
Oh, look at that head there. Russell, have a look at that. It's scary.
That's great. A great haircut on Daniel Southern.
Daniel
with his ponytail, that's how he prefers to be called, so I'll stick with that one. So it's off the ground up towards the Bullies forward line. The pressure on is relieved by Viney and also Lovett. Straight across the face, across the ground. It's bouncing very close to the line. He may even sit there, allowing Neitz, if he's clever enough to keep it in, he is. Back to Seacamp. Good work from the Demons. It's good support from Viney. That was Phoebe, rather, but the kick wasn't really good enough, and there wasn't enough air for Glenn Lovett to take the mark. Centre wing, as Mark West is replaced by Michael Martin, getting his first run, not only today, but his first run for the year. It's Todd Viney, now with time, kicks wide. He's got the leading Uze, and over the line, out of bounds on the full.
I think Viney should have squared the ball up there, kick it over and square it up in the centre half forward there. Just push the ball across and make a bit more of an attempt. Just don't push it wide just for the sake of it.
Still may have been alive in that inside that Melbourne forward line. So there's still an opportunity for them to at least score something.
Yes.
It's Darcy trying to pull in his 10th mark. Cameron off to Rowan Smith, has been very busy on the half back line for the Bulldogs. Goes to the top, over the top of Martin. Chance for him to get his first possession, but team rules allows Chris Grant running away from goal. And beautiful poise finding Liberatore at centre forward. He's got the running Montgomery on his own. Liberatore plays on quickly. Goal square. Woden over the top. Spoils his own teammate. Now a chance for Montgomery. Dimatina can steady the banana into the woodwork. Another behind for the Bulldogs.
The right option though by Tony Liberatore there to go top of the goal square there. Put the Demons under pressure there, and Dimatina was a bit unlucky there. Check side kick and a point.
13 points. 11.5 minutes remaining in the third term. The Demons have kicked the first 2 goals. The Bulldogs are yet to score a major.
Options are plenty. Then they dry up. Woden decides to come to the near side, long towards Steins. Sufficient body work on Darcy to take the mark from behind.
Oh, there goes a kick.
The ball couch. Unlike a short kick from Jim Steins, this time they've generated a little bit of run, but it's pulled up at half forward.
Greg Hunt commented about that 3 or 4 weeks ago on Sports World, that he wanted Jimmy not to kick the ball and kick it short, and that's what he did there. Went to the boundary line, didn't straighten the ball up through the centre half forward line.
So the boundary work. Very good to Smith running across the half back line. The long probing kick to half forward. Cook stops on the lead when perhaps he should have kept coming. The give to Grant, stepping this way, back to Cook. The pressure from the Melbourne defence is tremendous. They've wrapped them up. They've won the ball. They're going to clear it through Lamprell. Works with Pyman. Kicks to Lovett. Falls a bit short of that player. Comes back at it as Glenn Lovett. McDonald aggressive at the ball. 12.5 minutes into the third quarter, and Melbourne have a real spark about them.
Only if that kick to Glenn Lovett hit the mark, Terry, they would have been away and maybe a score.
Good pressure.
Western have added the 3 behinds and their halftime score of 6-10. Melbourne have picked up 2 goals, 1 in this third quarter. Steins drops it down. Martin, the first kick. It's a quick one into the forward line with Seacamp. Front for the Melbourne defence. Uses Hopgood. He has plenty of space. Has one bounce, running through half-back, kicks long to half-forward.
Demons are playing reasonably well this third term, but that kick was a poor one, only finding the running Scotty Wine, the Brownlow medalist from 1992, up to Rowan Smith. What beautiful vision to Brad Johnson, the 2 State of Origin debutants. Johnson's kick is wide.
Good transfer of play there, but Scotty Wine's dropped back onto Swartz and it made it very difficult. It was a 2-on-1 situation there, and Scotty Wine had nobody, so he come up the ground and taken the marks.
The change, Leon Cameron being replaced by Matthew Dent. And also Darren Cowell waiting on the sideline for a change. It's Hopgood from the kick out to Pyman under the hammer. Quick possessions. Now Martin, good work from the Bulldog. Now Johnson, here's a chance for the Bulldogs. Good spoil by Woden. Desperation from Lamprell. Good work from the Demon defence. They messed it up, but then they recovered good enough to at least stop a score. But the ball is still in the Bulldogs' forward line, right next to the left behind post. As we see that the Bulldogs, their last score, they're struggling in this third term. 23-minute mark at the second term, their last goal. And here's a chance. Paul DiMartino will take a free kick against Marcus Seacamp for holding the ball. We can get another look at this.
I think he was robbed there.
Well, according to Dennis Rich, he was close enough to adjudicate that he had plenty of time to get rid of the ball, and DiMartino will now line up for the Bulldogs' 7th and his own first.
Just come from that little bit of play there, that's when the point was taken, the overuse of the ball by Melbourne again.
Makes no mistake. Melbourne pay the price. The familiar sounds we hear, we've heard it 7 times today. The woofing over the PA system is just magnificent here at Optus Oval.
I think there was an extra woof there, but he didn't give him enough time there. Great opportunity, good opportunity. Wrapped up DiMartino, grabbed his left arm there and made it very difficult to get it out freely. And a first goal to Paul DiMartino.
So DiMartino becomes the 6th goal scorer for the Western Bulldogs. Wind, the big thump, clears the square. Montgomery, good give to Grant. Out in the path of Johnson on the left foot. Pressure was good there from Woden. The ball forced out of bounds on the full. Not as confident as or at ease on his left foot is Brad Johnson as perhaps he should be. Lamprell kicks long. Grant in front. Steins from behind. McDonald gives to Cowell, conceding a little bit of ground. Great spoil there from Curley on Glenn Lovett. Lovett in the front position, but Curley able to get the fist in there and just score to the line.
Intelligent punch by there, Curley, to use his right fist to push it to the boundary line. Great defensive work, and he's played a very good game, Curley, today.
Steins with the right hand, forces it away. Westover runs it. Smith takes it over the line and out. Alan Smith, one of 6 Bulldogs that play every game this year. Runner-up best and fairest last year. Will work underneath this contest. Martin, the boy from Tassie, weaves something out of nothing. The handball falls in the path of McDonald. Drags it back around. Lovett and Curley will do it again. It's at ground level this time. Curley wins once again to Johnson. Left foot. Quick kick out. Bounces to Smith. Looks to West. Ignores that one. Gives it to Montgomery. He wheels around. Plenty of time. The kick towards Cook. Can he get it? Interference? Yes.
And great play by Rowan Smith there. Just a couple of fades, a give off, and a beautiful kick there out in front, and put pressure on the Demons back line there. And very good play and a free kicking result for Cook from 35 out.
James Cook has kicked 2 goals, 1. And one of those also from a free kick, if I recall correctly.
Free kick, Terry. It's 35 out. For a full 40, should kick this though.
1 in each of the quarters. First, second. Taking his time, being very deliberate. Will kick from some 40 metres out, 45-degree angle. Balanced. Leans back a little on the kick when perhaps he shouldn't. But we'll wait for the umpire.
Yes. When you lean back like that, you take you don't take your body through the ball, you lift it up, and there you lose balance, head over the ball, and straight through. That's what you should do. Always have your head over the ball, put your balance over the top of the ball, and not lean back.
7:15, the Bulldogs to 5-6. So it's 22 scoring shots to 11. And yet the Melbourne side is still in this as Todd Curley has drifted away from Sean Charles' opponent. Under his right boot, kicking inboard. Got 2 to choose from. One is from Michael Martin, the other one was from D. Southern.
Good kick.
The former, beautiful pass finding the leading Chris Grant. His pass finding the flat-footed Dent, the Darren Cowell on the burst. Interception is excellent. Sean Charles now takes the mark at centre-half forward for the Demons, but is well held by Curley. He was away, not necessarily played on, but Curley retarded him well enough to stop the flow of play through the half-forward line for the Melbourne side.
Gee, they had the momentum then too, didn't they?
Very good play, Curley. He's on his one-on-one situation here today. He's done very well.
As we can see, Schwartz calling for him to kick it right. As he does, the Schwartz lead. 1 against 3, using his body in front of Cox. Good weight differential. Gerging, unable to take it. Now Scotty West under the ball with courage. Great effort. Umpire Michael Sexton calls a free kick in the back to Scott West.
Just on that, I think Schwartz is very confident on Cox on a one-on-one situation. He's calling there. He knows he can do the job.
Yeah, I think he was calling for him to kick it to his right side, so he may have been able to hook it in with his right boot as Brad Johnson has Simon Cox. See, this is where Cox is making Schwartz pay. He's running off him up the back line. Doing excellent work now to Chris Grant, who kicks inboard, straight down the throat of Brett Montgomery. So the Bulldogs, you know, David Schwartz may have kicked a goal on Cox up forward, but Cox was exploiting his lack of speed and fitness and has run down the ground, delivered the ball up to Chris Grant, and Grant has put it on the chest of Montgomery. So Montgomery now will line up for the Bulldogs' 8th goal. And his first, the boy from Springvale. He's kicked 10 goals, 12 in his illustrious 11-game career. There's number 11. So the Bulldogs, after the slow start, as we hear the whooping over the... There is a dog loose in this grandstand, so the Bulldogs started slowly. The Melbourne side have kicked 2 quick goals in the 3rd term, but the Bulldogs have now replied with their 2.
Quick give by Cook there, and quality player Chris Grant to square the ball up. Good vision, saw Montgomery on his own there, and a beautiful kick for goal there. Brett Montgomery for his first goal.
So 27 points now the difference. 21 minutes have gone in the 3rd quarter. Ball being forced. That looks like a bit of a rugby scrum there. It's Wind and Schwartz in amongst it.
He's a big boy, Swarter.
There's a free kick. Someone's been taken high. Free kick will go to Wine in that belly.
Whether Smith there holding his right shoulder. West, the playmaker with the ball.
These are all going down.
Oh, look out. Oh.
There's Schwartz.
Matthew Dent and Schwartz.
Look at this. Schwartz was involved in something there that upset Scott Wind earlier. And Big Scott pointing it out to Viney. Smith off the ground, holding his right shoulder as a result of that clash. Matthew Dent also not happy with the way in which David Schwartz attended to that centre bounce.
He come at him like a dingo, Terry.
I was suspect, Coach, I must admit, at the centre bounce, Schwartz hadn't gone back to full forward. He started on the outer wing a la Mark Ross, was it?
No,
Mark Yates.
Mark Yates.
And he has come on in. The ball now eventually has ended up with Matthew Dent inside 50 for the Western Bulldogs. There's a lot of finger pointing going on, a lot of argument.
He looked a bit frightened though there, Terry, when he saw Schwartz come at him though. Like, he's a big boy, Swarter. And Matthew Dent, I think I'm glad to get out of... Where is Swarter? Yeah, he's back down the full forward line.
In Western Bulldog language, mate, that was a 7:05 on Express to Werribee.
Look out.
So Matthew Dent, able to put it on the scoreboard where the Western Bulldogs want it. They can then turn around and say something to the D's. I'm sure they will.
Have a look at the scoreboard.
So Matthew Dent, he picks up his first goal. Bulldogs now have 9 on the board and begin now to really stretch the lead out. Potentially at this stage beyond Melbourne's control.
Well, Melbourne got within 11 points probably in the first 5 or so minutes in this 3rd term. Now it's blown out to 33. The Bulldogs have steadied. So doggy power, we can hear it in the grandstands. They're all chanting, so the Bulldogs have got to run on. They've kicked the last 3 goals. As Scotty Wine up against Steins, who wins the tap out. Now Glenn Lovett. They need to get the ball moving out of the centre of the ground, as Paul Couch mentioned. Get the quick kick, not the handball in the centre. Kick it up the forward line, put pressure on your defence. Ingerson can't mark. Stephen Phoebe clever. through centre wing. Kicks wide, looking for Newton. Running with the flight of the ball. Showed courage, but excellent punch from the Bulldog defence again. Bulldogs have got to run on. Pyman's wrapped up on centre wing. Viney's taking them all on. A lot of feeling here. Schwartz is throwing his weight around. This does great stuff here at Optus Oval. Play on's the call. McDonald from 55. Left footer. Goal square. One-on-one. Farmer!
Look at
He plays on quickly and puts it through. Oh, he's telling Tony Liberatore. He's letting him know all about it. A lot of feeling here at Optus Oval. You tell him, Jeffries.
That's a free kick. You can't grab him by the throat.
You can't touch each other. You can be in his face. You can say what you like.
And the Melbourne runners got involved there.
Umpire Sexton trying to keep control as Farmer should just now concentrate on the game and get a kick and put it through.
Viney, just aggressive play there. Got the ball where he wanted it. And it's fired up a bit here. McDonald, the kick in, and Farmer used his body well on Tony Liberatore. Outsmarted him. And quick thinking. Played on.
So there's a heat going on here at Optus Oval. Farmer's goal. 27 points is the difference. Western Bulldogs seemingly in control, but Melbourne not to be denied. Back and fighting.
There's a little bit of needling out there, Terry. A bit of feeling a game. It's good to see, though. It makes more interest. And here's Liver and Farmer having a bit of a chat there.
The old needle and the young needle up there. Tony Liberatore, 192nd game. Jeff Farmer, his 40th. Woden, a suspect handball comes out. Charles, in they come.
Hello.
Last man in there was Big Jim. By Dennis Rich, circling the pack like a buzzard, watching, waiting.
A buzzard. A buzzard.
Bounces. Darcy in front, takes it and kicks it virtually in one motion. Cowell in front of Dimatina. This is where they just need to generate some straight run. We've got run here. It's pushed them out towards the wing position. Newton in front of Prediop, takes the free kick. Held up. Kicks long.
Oh, Schwartz is
Schwartz again. He is a big man just at the moment. He's really starting to make an influence. Farmer slips. Farmer marks. Farmer stays upright. Farmer picks up and Farmer goals! Two in a row to Jeff Farmer. 3 for the day.
Outsmarted both of them there. Scotty Wine and Tony Liberatore. Just his extra pace there. It's worrying Tony Liberatore. There might be a little bit of a change here.
With the work on David Schwartz, I know he's not all that fit, but have a look at the strength in this pack. Bang, that's magnificent stuff.
And just, I want the ball, boys. Look out.
So we've got a game on our hands again as Farmers, we see, slips over, but the speed and agility.
Great recovery.
3 for the quarter for Jeff Farmer. The Demons have kicked 4 goals in this third term to 3 for the Bulldogs. So we've got a game on our hands, a lot of fire, a lot of tempest here at Optus Oval in the third term. Not long to go before three-quarter time. The Demons, if they can get another couple on the board, we've got a real ball game. Sean Charles, Schwartz using his weight. Great to see. Good team stuff. He kept his arm down. D. Southern in the front of the pack. Punch from Melbourne behind. McDonald, straight from the amateurs this year. Kicking wide. Got Viney. He's clear. Wants to move it quickly outside 50. He does. He's got Glenn Lovett wide, but the kick is a poor one. Out of bounds on the full. And the Bulldogs supporters let him know all about it.
Glenn Lovett was all on his own there. All it needed was a little kick over the Footscray player there, and it was a certain goal.
Nathan Brown, beautiful kick. Great vision for an 18-year-old.
And the change has been made there, Russell. Romero's gone on to Farmer now and released Liberatore up the ground.
He's on, maybe on McDonald, so Liberatore exploiting that already with a kick. Uze has come in, played an excellent game for Melbourne. Now he's got McDonald all on his own, can steady and put it through. He can dance around Liberatore onto his left foot. That's a wobbly one.
And he wanted to play on again. He was up.
I can't believe this.
Sensational.
Jeff Farmer has kicked 3 goals in this third term. He's taken a mark farthest side of the goal square, so he could setting the Demons alight.
Paul, we were looking to have Sean Charles and Jeff Farmer on the ground together.
That's
right from the start. Yep. Now they're starting to show the magic.
It's a better matchup, Terry. You got Neitz, you got Swartz there. Newton was a little bit slow on the forward line, but we wanted Charles and Farmer on the ground, and that's what we've done.
So 21 points, the difference.
Look out, they're back again, the D's.
This one to put them 15 points and still in it, going into the final term, a fiery encounter. I think
50.
He's put it through.
Or 50, take your pick.
Yes.
He's got the goal. Here's the man that set the Demons alight in this game in this third quarter. Three-quarter goals. I'll get it right. Your turn, Terry.
Oh, great play, the D's. They're back in action. Swartz, quick kick again. That's what we want to see from Melbourne here. And a good vision by who's a McDonald, a wobbly old kick, and Farmer, another mark. When you're hot, you're hot. We'll just have a rest now. A kick 4.
He wants another 4, be excellent.
15 points the difference. The last burst here. Who's it belong to? It's a Melbourne. Hyman drives it in. Southern can't complete the mark. The loose ball picked up by Schwartz. Curls it around. Not going to get there. Krediuk in front. Newton behind. Siren goes.
And that's what we saw there, Terry. A quick kick out from the centre there. Put pressure on Danny Southern. The mistake came. And another chance for it to go forward. Just unlucky there.
Well, it's still on here at three-quarter time as Clarkson and Krediuk and the experience of Schwartz now saying, no, we're back in this. We're only 15 points the difference. Let's go to the huddle. Let's focus on the ball. Jeff Farmer's kick 4. We've got a real big chance here of taking this game at Optus Oval. It's a magnificent effort from the Demons. They look pretty much rattled before half-time.
And just that quick kick out of the centre there put Danny Southern under enormous pressure there, and the mistake come. And Greg Hutchins very animated here.
He's getting them down towards the Melbourne supporters. That's what they did last week.
I think he believes he can win this game. Yep. Stirring them up. And here they come. They come to the Demon supporters here. Greg Hutchinson sending them down there, as a la Jeff Geesham last week.
So Melbourne really in this game with a chance now. They're 15 points down, a 5-goal third quarter. They've kicked 5-1 to the Western Bulldogs, 3-5. 15 points is the difference, three-quarter time, Optus Oval.
Hello everyone, today the latest news from the Melbourne Football Club. And we begin with a night not to be missed. Coming up on the 3rd of August, the 1997 Players Review at Leonda by the Yarra in Hawthorn. The players will be performing their unique dance routines and comedy sketches, and it promises to be a fun night for all the family. Then on the 7th, the AFL Coaches Lunch featuring Greg Hutchinson, David Parkin and Terry Wallace. Everyone is welcome and bookings should be made on 9650 9052. On Friday the 15th of August, join other fans at the Bentley Club for the big screen event when Melbourne play West Coast. Tickets are $15 for adults and $8 for children, and the evening begins at 7 o'clock. And coming up at the Bentley Club, Deborah Byrne performing on the 29th of August and Frankie J. Holden and Denise Drysdale on the 12th of September. Tickets are $40 and include a 2-course meal. Also in September, the Ladies Red and Blue Luncheon at the Grand Hyatt, Melbourne, with guest speakers and comedian. Finally, the Melbourne Football Club Grand Final breakfast on Saturday the 27th of September in the ballroom at the Grand Hyatt. It's an early start with breakfast commencing at 7:30 a.m, but it will be a great way to start off the day, and special guests include climber Brigitte Muir and Atlanta gold medalist Russell Mark. Tickets are $100, and if you're interested in making the booking, call the club on 9650 9052. That's all the club news we have time for. Bye.
The final quarter at Optus Oval in what is the Western Bulldogs' last chance for finals football. They must win this. For the third quarter, they are under siege from Melbourne. A 5-goal third quarter to Melbourne has brought them to within 15 points. Rowan Smith off the ground with a shoulder injury. The Western Bulldogs under the pump, but here's their response. Curley from half-back, runs onto 50, on the left foot, in towards the forward line. Cook wins the ball, can't get it out. Lampool for Melbourne, working in there. Eventually Ingerson, and over the top handball to Cow. He's away, kicks towards the wing position. Jump there from Ellis, mistimes everything. Uze, Johnson back into it. Forward handball, great tackle there from Phoebe. Melbourne are desperate. Melbourne are working extremely hard. Romero on the left foot, curls it back in. Steins takes the mark in defence.
Great start from the Bulldogs and also Melbourne. Greg Hutchison at three-quarter time took his players down and addressed them in front of the Melbourne cheer squad, very similar to Jeff Gushin, but they're messing around with the ball again. Too many handballs. They've got to go directed. They've got a chance to win this game at Optus Oval. McDonald now has a bit of time, thanks to the good shepherding of Alistair Clarkson. The long kick looking for Schwartz has been the powerhouse up forward for the Demons. But more importantly, Jeffrey Farmer and his 4 three-quarter goals have been magnificent.
Sean Charles, very good. And Chris Grant's gone to centre-half back.
So, obviously, Terry Wallace not hitting the panic button yet, but obviously very concerned about the dominance of Schwartz up that forward line and his marking power.
I think we're going to hit the panic button. Not having your finger pretty much on it, because Melbourne have the edge just at the moment.
And Chris Grant tucked that ball underneath there. Should have knocked it out. It could have been a free kick there. You've got to be very careful with that. The umpires are pretty keen to give that free kick away.
Well, umpire Dennis Rich is closer to the action. Sean Charles and Stephen Crediuk jostling for position. It's a centre-half forward for the Melbourne side. Scotty Wine takes it out of the ruck. But Chris Grant again wrapped up by the Melbourne forwards. Great defensive work, keeping in the Melbourne forward line. So we'll have another bounce. Identical position. Steins misses the ball completely. Now Schwartz backing into the pack. Very rugby union-like, trying to feed it back out to his players.
What was Liver up to there, Couchy?
Oh, I don't know. He thought he was going to take on the whole 10 there, Schwartz. Okay, he's having a mouthful to him too.
Well, he certainly did in the third quarter, did David Schwartz. He upset the apple cart on numerous occasions.
So centre-half forward again, identical position. Steins on the burst of Pyman, quickly gets his kick, but an excellent tackle from Romero. Relieving the pressure is Scotty West, who's had a quiet third term. A lot of the Bulldogs were quiet in that third quarter because it was a bit of a demon rampage.
So it's feeling here, Russell, though. The crowd's getting very animated here.
Scotty West 4 possessions in the third term, but he had about 15 or so in the first half. So still in the right half forward line for the Demons. Schwartz using his body well. Pyman wrapped up by Romero. Excellent stuff. Uze round the back of the pack, throws it on the left foot, inside 50. Oh, great mark from Todd Curley. Play onto the call. Now Newton. Jim Steins on his own. They'll let it go through to goal. 9 points the difference.
A Shane Warren off you there, boys. Great goal. 2 by Newton there. Good play by Uze and strong play by Schwartz again on the boundary line there.
Still a lot of feeling here. Sean Charles telling them the Bulldogs back line what it's all about as Juice Newton puts the Melbourne side's 9th on the board. The Demons are back in town. They're pumped.
Schwartz's presence on the ground though this second half has been very important. He's using his body well. And good kick here by Uze, just to kick it up, give him time for the forwards to get there.
I thought Curley had this mark, but it spilled out as it hit the ground.
Farmer was one committed in amongst it.
Yep.
Switched on the second half, Farmer.
So 9 points now is the difference. Melbourne having kicked the last 3 goals of the third quarter through Jeff Farmer and the first of the last. Have the momentum. Umpires involved again. Darcy free kick half forward.
See Cat just used his body on Darcy there. No free kick.
Left foot coming across the ground. Montgomery started the game on the interchange bench. Come on. 11 disposals. His 6th mark. As a goal to his credit. Into the slight breeze blowing here at Optus Oval, so the distance will test him. A kick from 50. Right to the line, it's all Melbourne defence. They spoil it, they force it through for a behind.
And at the start of this game, Terry, you would have thought the Western Bulldogs by 10, but the Melbourne have been very committed after half-time, working very hard. And Greg Hutchison was very animated in that third quarter speech there. Wanted the boys, urged them on.
So the round 4 clash earlier this year between these two sides had a win to the Western Bulldogs by just 2 points when Craig Ellis marked in defence to stop a Melbourne surge. It could well come to that same level here this afternoon. Curley in, Montgomery free.
Good play by Todd Curley again. He's been very good this afternoon. Squared the ball up beautifully to Montgomery, and Montgomery's been a pretty good player today. Half-forward flank, has taken a couple of nice marks. He's a good mark for his size, and he shoots from about 35 metres out straight in front.
Very important kick. His side leads by 10 points. A long time between goals for the Western Bulldogs. Here it is, and it's still time ticking on as it hits the woodwork.
They're very crucial in those first 5 minutes, Terry, aren't they? You need to put scoreboard pressure on the Demons here. They're still in with a chance, the D's.
9:17, so if it comes down to the wire, Bulldogs definitely have to look at their inaccuracy as Darcy juggles the ball. Call is play on from umpire Sexton. Liberatore is taken high, but the arm was over his top of his shoulder. It'll be a bounce.
He usually gets them. He's a little dwarf. They always grab him around the neck. I always used to anyway. He's too hard to get.
Well, you're 6'3", ain't you, Couchy?
Well, he's at 5 foot.
A beautiful tap down from Darcy, looking for Liberatore. Glenn Lovett chips in. The running Charles is taken without the ball. Clever work, gets it somehow the ball to his feet. Now Scotty West under the hammer, throws it on the boot quickly. Indication of how this game is going. Not a lot of time to steady. Now Viney, good poise, great strength, great vision to Viney, to the running Uze. They move it quickly, left footer, driving him forward. The Melbourne crowd are calling for downfield, but as a play on the Southern, unable to mark the ball as umpire Dennis Rich calls for a bounce.
And the movement of Chris Grant to centre-half back for the Western Bulldogs here. They went to centre-half for the Western Bulldogs. They didn't have anybody there, a tall marking player, and they struggled centre-half forward. I don't know whether it's the right move here. I think they're going to lose their goal-kicking pair, and they need to kick goals.
So to bounce on 50. Scott Wine in control, just to himself. Gets a quick kick towards the boundary, gaining valuable 10 metres, getting it out of trouble. So it's about 65 metres around from the Melbourne goal.
So is that an indication looking to save the game here from Terry Wallace or win the game?
You've got to win the game. You've got to win it.
I'm very concerned, Terry Wallace, coaching his 19th game. There it is on the outer side. Half-forward flank for Melbourne.
Hasn't David Swartz been important in the second half? The Western Bulldogs on ball. This is just having a bit of a look around. He's put his presence on the game, and there he is. He hurt a very important play on Rowan Smith in that centre bounce down there, coming from the side and knocked him straight over.
Wind. Steins misses Wind, and the way the ball goes over the line and out of bounds. Do it again.
And that's what you need to do. The Western Bulldogs need to slow the game down here. Melbourne's got the momentum. If they can keep it just to the boundary line there, soak up 5 minutes and start again. That's what you need to do.
David Meeks we saw there on interchange. I'm not sure whether there was any injury, but he wasn't a part of that third quarter revival. Liberatore been in defence for the majority of the day. Free kick to Scott West. No, it's to Credier. Generally looks to switch the play, does so again here using Southern. Lost any movement there. Southern to Dent. They are getting a bit closer to the Melbourne goal. Eventually come on out to Ellis. Cox is the man free. He's at half-back. The lead from Darcy. The kick's favouring Darcy. Just needs the body work.
Oh,
well done.
beautiful.
Well done. Grant running on the ground from centre half-back. Darcy comes in short. The spoil. Melbourne, the Seacamp, drives it back towards the centre. Clarkson. Liberatore roving the West knock on the left foot, pushes on out wide. Montgomery again, takes the mark.
Oh, he's a long way away, that umpire, a good 40 metres. Umpire Sexton, but he's called it. Whether it's a mark or a free kick to Montgomery, it doesn't matter. He plays on quickly, corner of the square.
Grant
drives it in, no one can mark. There's a lot of pushing and shoving. Umpire John Harvey calls it against Chris Grant, and the free kick will go to Lamprell for the Melbourne side.
Couchy Ellis has gone back to centre half back.
Waste no time. Viney back flank for the Demons. going back to the chip short game to Gergic. His long kick. Centre wing, looking for Steins. Well, Scotty Wine does an excellent job there. Off to Ellis. Spent a lot of time on the bench to Scott West. Now kicking wide to Michael Martin. The lead on is Cook. Not quick enough to get the ball. Lamprell dives over his back to avoid any...
Better set up, though, with Chris Grant going to the forward line now. It looks better. A marking player there. You work to him, get the numbers to Chris Grant, get the on-ballers there. And Ellis is going to centre half back on Swartz.
Liberatore, quick kick under pressure. Now a chance for the Bulldogs. Now it's the Melbourne side. Lamprell out of the defence. Devine bounces when maybe he didn't need to. The running Uze's magnificent play by the Melbourne side up to centre wing. But marked brilliantly by Stephen Credit. Better timing from the Bulldog defender.
Looking to repel the attack is Krediuk. In short, Curley virtually just wanders off. Now he's wandered into trouble. That's holding the ball. No, says the umpire, they're allowed to go. Johnson's away. Kicks across the ground. Newton takes the mark, then just checks out the rooms at his feet. To Lovett. Long to centre half forward. Here's Schwartz and Ellis. Schwartz pushing and shoving. Southern comes back to assist. The rundown was good by Dent. He on out to Cox. Ellis providing run. Approaching half forward, back into centre half forward. There's no one there. Grant does the roving off the back of Cowell's hands to Romero, straight in front. The Bulldogs need it. The Bulldogs have got it.
And we called it, Terry. Craig Ellis on Swartz. Better set up there at centre half back. Provided the run down the ground. And Chris Grant with class, read it off the pack beautifully and gives the handball out and a goal to Romero. Here we see Craig Ellis pushing down off Swartz, squares the ball up here to Chris Grant, puts the pressure onto Cowell, who misses the mark, should have taken it. And Romero, with poise, takes his time and a goal.
Well, basically going against the flow, the Bulldogs have kicked 10 goals, 17. So very poor kicking. So the Romero goal was very timely as Liberatore is pushed in the back. But his kick will go straight to Darren Cowell on half back to the Demons. 10 minutes remaining in this game. It's been a ripper. It's been full of heat and passion. It's Michael Martin for the Bulldogs now. Sends them forward, pumps it up to the forward line. Darcy's held without the ball. Umpire Harvey calls it and will give him the free kick.
And if he kicks this, it could be all over here for Demons. I should say this game up here. Hasn't been the greatest kick today, Luke Darcy. He's missed a lot of shots. But if he kicks this one, just settles back Western Bulldogs for
He's kicked 2 goals. Luke Darcy, no, 1 goal 3.
Yeah, 1 goal 3.
1 goal 3. Well. I was looking at James Cook on my stat sheet. 1 goal 3, Luke Darcy. So a critical kick.
Well, they look more potent with Chris Grant down there, providing a lot of movement and troubling the Demons' backline.
Critical kick for the Bulldogs. This could be the difference between them playing finals football in 1997. Sure, there's 9 minutes remaining in the game, but it's a 17-point margin. This will stretch it out to 23 and maybe resist that momentum that Melbourne were getting at the beginning of the quarter. He hasn't let him down. That is a great kick and a great goal to Luke Darcy. There goes the walk, we can hear it. So maybe that was the kick, Couchy, the one that really may settle the Bulldogs in his final turn.
Well, you just saw on the faces of a couple of Demons players there that just dropped their heads a little bit here. They've just taken the momentum, and Curley has been a very good player. Good vision there, under pressure, kicks the ball out wide. And a free kick there, holding on by Seacamp there. And Luke Darcy doesn't let his team down and kicks a goal.
So Darcy's second goal takes the lead out to 23 points to the Western Bulldogs. Just under 10 minutes of play remaining. Wine hooks it forward. Cameron in quickly. Now he's buried there by a couple of Melbourne players. McDonald being the last one up off Leon Cameron. Cameron a goal in the first quarter.
A free kick to Romero. Sean Charles pushed him off the ball. Silly play.
It's a touch of undisciplined play coming into the Demons side here now. Romero long, putting pressure on the defence of the Demons. The in-out handball to Steins. Darcy running onto the loose ball. Romero steps in front. Forward handball. Gergic all wrapped up.
And Cook's coming off.
So Melbourne losing Sean Smith before the start of the game. Didn't take his place as a result of concussion.
Pluggeritis, some of you suffering from too.
But I think they've sorely missed his focal point at full forward. Martin, one of 6 changes made by the Bulldogs for today's game. Drives in Montgomery. Very good player coming off the bench. That's mark number 9.
It's been a good play for him when he's come on. That half-forward flanker enables him to take another great mark. For his size is very good. And he's had 10 kicks and 4 handballs and 9 marks. A pretty good game for Montgomery today.
1 goal 2 is his return.
It's a fair day effort for a half-forward flanker.
He's providing that alternative marking option has been the key to his performance. So here he goes from mark number 9 and kick number 11. He's kicked goal number 2.
It's good to see the Bulldogs kicking goals when it really counts, because they're under the hammer. They're 17 behinds on the board. I think they were 9 goals, 17. They kicked 3 goals in a row. So as we saw, Sean Charles was benched for his
undisciplined play there. Russell, was no need for that. Gives the Western Bulldogs an opportunity to kick another goal, and that's what they did. Montgomery, a good mark for his size, and he's played very well today.
So some pleasing signs from the Melbourne side in the second half, but on the other hand, the Bulldogs haven't been all that convincing. They've had a lot of the play in the first half, but they really haven't buried the Demon side. They had the opportunity, poor kicking, sure, but Chris Grant showing strength against Ingerson. Now through the pack was Brad Johnson. Directly in front, Brad Johnson. There's another one for the Bulldogs. The nail is in the coffin. Very pleasing stuff. Very happy face. Great finishing for the Bulldogs side. But maybe we should have seen this earlier in the match.
That's right, but the quick kick out of the centre there puts enormous pressure on the Demons' back line there. Romero with the quick kick, that's what you like to see. Get the ball on. Chris Grant at centre half forward. It's good to see him back there last 5 minutes. And Brad Johnson, a little bit of a trip, but a quality player, had time to steady, and that's what you want. And there's the 2 finger sign. Goal. Very happy about that, Brad Johnson.
35 points, now's the lead of the Western Bulldogs. And the supporters of that club in fine voice here at the moment. Viney tries to get the ball clear. Can't. Prediok has a go at it for the Western Bulldog. He too is unsuccessful, and the umpire will bounce the ball once again.
I suppose cream's come to the top, Terry, hasn't it, really, by the Western Bulldogs? They've just got better players all over the ground. They match up well.
Third quarter surge by Melbourne, primarily through Jeff Farmer with 4 goals in that quarter. Brought Melbourne back to within 15 points at 3-quarter time. First goal of the last quarter to Melbourne brought them to within 9, but since then the Western Bulldogs have answered with 4 goals. Simon Cox, long towards the wing. Ellis on the bench for the first 3 quarters or thereabouts. One of the stars of the early form of the Western side. Has fallen a little bit, now back out there playing at centre half, back on Schwartz. Ingerson the spoil, long and hard over the line, boundary throw in.
Great punch by Ingerson there to get his left hand just to the ball there, just a little tap and beautiful direction to the boundary line. Great defensive play.
Steins and Wind, as they have done for most of the day. This time neither takes it away. While Woden in front of Southern. Ball to be bounced. So the Western Bulldogs now look towards the last 3 games. Their next encounter against Adelaide at Football Park next week. Then West Coast at the Whitten Oval for their only game at that venue this year. And then Hawthorn at Waverley. 3 very tough games. Liberatore taken slightly high, if you think the bridge of his nose is high. To West, away they go. West on the left foot. Probes into centre forward. Grant and Ingerson. Ingerson again, great spoil. The runners are there for the Dogs. Johnson off the ground, misses the 21 metres. Free kick to Melbourne out on the full.
That's why Chris Grant's very important at centre half forward. It just gives that contest there.
Quick kick into play. Glenn Lovett takes the mark. Left half back for the Demons. They got within 9 points. And we had a ripper start to this final term. Leon Cameron, there's the Leon Cameron of old, sailing in front of the pack. And a one-grab pluck. So he ignores the Luke Darcy lead. So he goes back. Goes again, but it's kick to kick here. Straight back to Glenn Lovett. Can't pull it in. Good tackle from Montgomery. Work from Martin is strong. Very like his namesake, the fullback at North Melbourne. Tough in the packs. Michael Martin, number 23.
He's got maybe more hair than Mick.
He doesn't look the same. I'll be kind.
Be kind, thank you.
Scotty Wine. He heard the call from Johnson. Couldn't get his kick. Now Steins to Gergic, off to the running Pyman. So a lot of the ball, been very busy. Robert Pyman, beautiful pass, finding the running Neitz, who missed out on the third quarter surge, spent it on the bench. Up to Neitz and Farmer, Schwartz and Farmer, but the ball will come back. By Dennis Rich, controlling the play. Be a free kick to, they're moving him around, so redirecting his kick. He'll do it all again. Action replay. So Neitz will kick from about 60 metres out directly in front. So he might make the distance. He's having a shot. It's a long kick. It'll go close. Farmer, the big fly over the back. But the ball bounces off the hands. And it's the Melbourne 7th behind. 9-7, 61. Trailing the Bulldogs by 34 points. And just over 4 minutes remaining in the game. So I think it might be all over. Terry Wallace can at least relax a little, at least for the rest of the day. But they've got the Adelaide Crows next week at Footy Park.
Generating run now from half-back. Cameron and Dent combining together and finding Grant outer wing side at Optus Oval. The new home of the Western Bulldogs. Kicks now towards Crediok. The defender coming down the ground is awarded that mark. Advantage is now played away. He goes. Kicks in. The defence is good there for Melbourne. Liberatore does the roving. The left foot. Screwed it back. Screwed it round. Got a goal, Liber.
Oh, look out. The boys are happy.
Just hope they're not too happy.
That's camaraderie to the nth degree.
Well, yeah, well, that takes it to the limit.
That was taken to the limit, Russell. I'm a bit worried about that. Anyway, good play by Chris Grant to provide the option there, and a beautiful kick to Crediok. Tough play by Viney there to punch the ball away, and Little Liver the opportunist, front and square in the front of that enormous pack there, and a good goal.
Well, he doesn't get a chance to kick many goals. It's his 8th for the season. His 19th game. 8 goals, 2 Liver. So Bulldogs by 40 points. As Crediok has had a very good game off the half-back line for the Bulldogs. The running Viney, the big bull, surged his way through the pack. Now McDonald can steady, but he looks to kick towards Schwartz. There's big Dave Schwartz at a powerhouse third term and can hold his head high with magnificent effort. There's the strength around the forward line, some great marks, and he was responsible for that resurgence, the 5-goal third quarter for the Demons. They got within 9 points earlier in the final quarter, but now the Bulldogs have steadied with poise. Craig Ellis has come on the ground, has been good off the half-back. Down on form in recent times. Now they're 40 points ahead. And they're sort of playing out time as Curley, been another good player. Johnson. The ball's high, it's lying towards the boundary line. It's all kept in over the line and out of bounds. In between, centre wing at Optus Oval. The Melbourne side next week, we've got West Coast at the Wacker next Friday night. So that I'm sure will test them of all games to be playing. That probably would be one of the hardest, the night game in Perth against West Coast. Steins punches the ball towards the line. Counting down the seconds, just under 3 minutes remaining. 40 points the difference. The Bulldogs led by 15 points at three-quarter time, 23 points at half-time, and 20 points at quarter time. But Melbourne led, the only time they have led was in the first minute of the game when they kicked the first goal thanks to Shane Woden. As McDonald showing a turn of pace, outrunning Leon Cameron. Here's a chance, son. Put it through. It wobbles close to the line, across the face of goal. And one behind.
A great punch by David Schwartz there on the ruck. Gave him an opportunity to kick the ball down to McDonald. It's a wobbly old kick under pressure there. Kicks a point.
So 31 active scoring shots to the Western Bulldogs, 17 to Melbourne. Bulldogs through Cameron, West, back to Cameron, back to Dent. He now's got a straight run, uses West again. Those three boys own the ball just at the moment. Kicks high, Johnson will be asked to fly against Steins. Steins knocks it down, Cook does the roving, gives it to the runner Johnson. He's got a paddock. Romero urging him on. He'll run inside 50, float it over to Romero. He'll step back around, he went the wrong way, should have gone inboard on the left, consequently gets a minor score.
Good play by Uzo there to put pressure on both the Western Bulldogs players, Romero and Johnson. He's out there, outnumbered, and just worked very hard there.
His tail off. Is that what you were
Worked his tail off, yes.
25 disposals to Jose Romero for the afternoon. Stephen Phoebe kicks along to the outer wing. Darcy, a welcome return to the side. Liberatore, disposal number 25 to Nathan Brown. He was in fine form early. Brown out of it a little bit, but that's a great kick. Montgomery dropped what he should have taken. Steins does the roving. Glenn Lovett, Stephen Phoebe, Viney, Glenn Lovett. Now they've got it to the wing position, kicking to half forward. Neats just enough on Cox to take the mark.
And Terry, just on that, Neats going off at three-quarter time when Melbourne had a surge there. Do you think it was a good move? I know he's been quiet, but he is a goal kicker, and that's what you need in a situation like that when it gets very tight. Quality players out there.
In answer to your question, no, I don't think he should have gone off, Gouchy.
No.
But he also should kick this from some 48 metres out. He's kicked it. Pretty good shot when you can hit that thin stick from that far out.
They should get 7 points for that far out. Over 50, 7 points.
So Matthew Dent, one of the 6 changes to the Bulldogs side today, returning from suspension, out to Cox. Neats again. This time he's well outside 50. Just tosses it up. Oh, that's an interference, surely. Schwartz to take the free kick. Ellis flying without any regard for the ball whatsoever.
And he's just been out of confidence and just lack of judgment there by Craig Ellis. He really didn't have to go at Schwartz like that. The ball was going over his head, and just a lack of confidence there in Craig Ellis's part. He really didn't have to do that. He's just been out of form lately. And
So Schwartz trying initially there to get a better angle, but umpire Michael Sexton having nothing of that. Brings him right around. 1 goal, 2 is the scorecard for David Schwartz today. His goal in the 3rd quarter. Here he comes, steps out, drags it around. Has he gone far enough? The umpire has a close look. No, he hasn't. Do they practice that shot, Goucher, or is that just the last kick as you leave the training track?
It is one of the last kicks. What you prefer is not to go so wide, Terry, in the forward line. You should lead. Full forward shouldn't come out any further than the point at any particular time, and that's where good sides don't kick to the boundary line.
Leon Cameron to see out the final seconds of the game. The Bulldogs by 38 points. Hyman running with the ball. Now Romero, better judgment to Mark West. Late replacement for Matthew Croft, who was injured. Now it's Steins, bringing Uze into it. Hyman again, he's been very busy. Lots of possessions. D. Southern standing under it. Good punch from Schwartz. Keeping the ball in the ground, keeping it alive. But to no avail. The Demons are dead today. Excellent effort in that 3rd term. They got within 9 points earlier in the last quarter. A very, very tough game. A lot of feeling, a lot of aggression. And there may be a video report, maybe with some mellies in that 3rd term, but you never know. But it was all pretty tame stuff.
It was, Russell. It was pretty tame stuff, but the quality side of Western Bulldogs have shown that all year. They've been down for the last 4 weeks, so they should get a bit of confidence out of this win here. They needed the win to keep in the top 8. And Pretioku played a very good game on Neats today. It was fantastic. Romero's got a lot of the ball. West got a lot. And Leon Cameron's there on screen.
They had a lot of the ball, the Bulldogs, in the first half and really couldn't put Melbourne away. They kicked a lot of behinds. Now, they had 6-10 on the board. Maybe they should have been, I suppose, 10-6. However, they led by 23 points at half-time, and that 3rd term was an excellent quarter by Jeff Farmer there we saw on screen, who kicked 4 goals in that third term, and Jose Romero was excellent. Had a Muse catch. He was
he tried
a
hard.
serviceable game today for the Melbourne side. You see Craig Ellis, who spent a lot of time on the bench the first 3 quarters. Mark West was an excellent inclusion for the Bulldogs, Terry.
So the Western Bulldogs have arrested a 4-game losing slump that took them from top of the ladder to 9th with a 38-point win over Melbourne here at